Hey kids, do you love Jesus? Do you love Jesus? Well, get the jab. Jesus love jab. Starts with a J. Jesus jab.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is February 26, 2021. And this is episode 305. And today, Beast Christ, Beast Prophets. And I am neither the Christ or a prophet, but I am your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz in a Mandalorian mask.
Oh, it really changes the whole vibe of your thing, the whole cut of your jib. Listen to that.
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast.
It sounds like how Mando sounds.
Well, he is in a helmet.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast where we praise Jesus while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events.
This is the way.
I wanted to thank producer Aaron for sending us the Mandalorian rubber mask helmet.
You sound afraid. Are you okay?
This is very uncomfortable. I don't know how Mando drives a spaceship. I can't see anything.
Gonz, but you look good. You look good and you sound good. And for that, we have producer Aaron to thank.
Okay, can I take it off now?
Nope. Welcome to my world, Gonz.
Well, you get you get the VR. I get little tiny holes.
This widens my my scope, my view, what I'm able to see. This improves, Gonz, through technology. I've improved the podcasting experience where you're in a whole different world. Yes, I will allow you to take off the helmet. Thank you again, producer Aaron, for sending it in. Gonz, you took some great pictures of you and the babies cosplaying.
Yeah, it was me. I had my brother-in-law sent me a Yoda sweatshirt for little Keizo.
Uh-huh.
We had the whole garb there, although the message is, bring back Cara Dune. Star Wars.
So esoteric.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are they going to do? I thought that they were going to do an entirely... I thought she was going to have her own series, but they just called it, huh?
I don't know. They're doing some weird rituals over there at the headquarters. I'm not into it anymore.
Okay.
I should go rogue.
Well, you know what, Gonz? I was going to say we both have some maintenance to do real quick. You can get out of the mask, and my VR hand set, my little hand thing here, ran out of batteries. And I was going to say we could take a second and both fix our situation. But, I'm just so slick. I just changed the batteries without anybody seeing.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I was able to flip out of the mask and put the hat on.
It sounds so different. Wow. It sounds like when Mando took his helmet off.
Yeah. Surprise. Oh, I'm going to hear it in the comments, too. How do you support that occult
Don't you
show?
love Jesus? Why would you wear a mask if you love Jesus?
Weren't they wearing hoods back then?
A real comment that I've gotten.
Yeah. Don't they wear Didn't they wear hoods back in the day, in Jesus' day, walking around?
Sure.
Yeah.
Probably masks, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, what are we doing?
All right.
We're so late.
Well, let's. I know. Yeah, it was a crazy day. I don't know. It's too boring to get into, but the day completely got out of hand. Kind of for both of us. You were a little bit more controlled demolition. But yes, things got. I fought with a scanner. I had a lot of real life issues that were actually quite important. So, we're not just slacking here, but that's the life of a podcaster. You got to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
Now, did you want to? Oh, I guess we need to remind everybody to like and subscribe and all that kind of fun stuff.
Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
That's right. Look, we know it's a weird episode. We know we're late, but please hit the like button and subscribe and turn on notifications. Helps with the algorithm stuff. You've heard us talk about it before. And I think today is the last episode before the Canary Cry Silver giveaway. So generously provided by producer Aaron Moffat. If you want to win an ounce of silver, a beautiful coin, go ahead and make a social media post. Just do it right now while you're sitting here listening to the show. If you make a social media post, use hashtag Canary Cry News Talk, say something nice about the show, and post a link to an episode. Heck, even this episode. Go ahead and you will be entered to win the Canary Cry silver giveaway. It'll be a good time. Thank you so much to everybody who has participated so far.
Yep. And before we jump into the Flippy update in the show, I do want to mention real briefly, we did talk about the pastor Stephen Furtick a couple episodes ago. Was it last episode or maybe 2 episodes ago? It all blends together. I don't know.
I know. Time is a flat circle.
Yeah. Yeah. And it spins sideways. But there were some people in the comments saying like, oh, if you actually watch the whole sermon, you wouldn't say horrible things about Stephen Furtick and he's a man of God and don't take things. One person even said, are you even Christian?
If you don't like Furtick,
are
do you even
Christian?
Love Jesus?
Yeah.
And to be fair, I was reserved about criticizing him just simply because I had not heard the rest of the sermon. You know, I try not to pass judgment based on a 3-second audio clip.
Sure.
But no longer, Gons. Are you in the dark?
I sat through the whole sermon. It's called My
God.
Maker is My Mirror.
God bless you.
So yes, I did sit through the actual sermon where he, does the whole I am thing with Moses. And here's my summary.
Do we need to refresh? Do you have the clip?
Oh, I should. I'm not very well prepared for this episort as normally would be. I could probably pull it up if I.
If you want to pull it up real quick, I'll stall for a second.
Sure.
So part of it was, this was 2 episodes. Thank you to the chatter who confirmed that, Epony Blaze. Oh, thank you. So 2 episodes ago, this was a clip that was making the rounds on all the social media, setting the internet on fire, where Stephen Furtick, who is generally, he's a megachurch pastor, young guy, he does a lot of crazy stuff. Guns and I had a Stephen Furtick video marathon before we started the show. He does a lot of stunts.
sits on famous singers' laps, and there's all kinds of weirdness going on.
Does a lot of stunts.
Yeah.
He's kind of like social media pastor guy. He really leans into that. In fact, we had played a clip a few years ago where he kind of loses it on stage a little bit. We were looking for the clip. We wanted to play it again because it was hilarious. But anywho, he recently talked about, made comparisons to, I am, meaning, God's description of himself and how we should characterize ourselves in similar ways, which just lit the fuse. The thing is, with the social media thing, even if you're spreading the clip because you think it's ridiculous and you want to, expose heretics, you're still giving the guy the attention that he's looking for, spreading the clip. So keep that in mind next time. If you don't want to add to this man's social media influence, just have thoughts. Just think thoughts to yourself. No need to add to his algos if you're really trying to, not give him too much credit, if that's your thing. How we look
when God
things.
said, I am to Moses, my name is I am. He was trying to get him to see you are as I am.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the clip. Obviously, people were upset at the sort of the equality the equity between us and God, kind of referring to some New Age beliefs where we are gods or as God or of the same quality of God, something like that. But you actually went into it, Gons. What's the deal?
Yeah, so the sermon is called My Maker is My Mirror. It's from a couple years ago, May 2019. And here...
it's from 2019?
Yes, it's a couple years old. That's the other thing. Is it went around like it just happened, but yeah, it's a couple years old. And the message is that, don't look at yourself through using a mirror of the world. Use God as the mirror. And so there's kind of this, self-help type of feel to it.
See yourself how God sees you.
Right,
don't see yourself how the world sees you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
pretty standard.
Pretty standard messaging. So it's nothing too ridiculous. But I think what happens with a lot of these I'm going to call them milk toast messages.
Sure. I don't think that's too...
It's not too
too radical of a characterization.
When you mix that self-help type of messaging with just basic theology, the message, again, isn't like the worst message. Like, hey, see yourself as valuable as God sees you. Okay, good.
Sure.
But the delivery...
The quote itself obviously is inflammatory, but you're saying the message of the whole sermon.
Sure. It's good for people that may be depressed or, struggling and stuff like that. You can get by, okay? That kind of message might lift, get you up and get you going.
Yeah, but, sort of the pop psychology sermon.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like if a lot of these the self-help guys were just talking biblical kind of. That's the kind of feel.
Sure.
But the problem is when you start doing that, your delivery starts getting a little shaky. And you start connecting things or flipping things in the Word of God that may not be there. And I was really surprised to find out that in the message, most Christians, maybe I'll call them normie Christians, even though, it's kind of all blurred now. We're all, if you're a believer, you're a believer. I'm not going to question this guy's faith per se, but he does mention the Nephilim in the sermon, which kind of surprised me. I was like, whoa, you're bringing up the Nephilim in the message? And should I just play the clip? I mean, for us kind of weirdos, right? Biblical fringe weirdo, whatever you want to call us. This was very interesting because just keep in mind, he's trying to make the point that, we are as, we should see ourselves as God sees us. But again, the delivery, I feel like gets lost when you talk about stuff like this.
There were the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, who come from the Nephilim. There were giants in the land. Big, strong adversaries that we would have to dispossess to take the land. And we seemed to ourselves, wow, like grasshoppers, not to God. We seemed to ourselves like grasshoppers.
Because they were giants.
Most people see God really big. Even those who barely believe in God see him really big. It's not how big you see God, it's how much you believe that God is in you. We seem to ourselves as grasshoppers, and so we seem to them. Our reflection determined our reality. We looked at them.
Sorry.
What got me about it
literally
is that they could have seen the exact same situation in reverse. Watch this. They were like,
watch this.
The giants are too big. God promised us the victory, but I guess we can't go in because of the size of the giants. Reverse it.
Okay.
Because God always shows you the image in reverse. So it's like this. God has already promised us the victory. And the giants are so big. If the giants are that big and God has promised us the victory, if what is coming against us is that great, how much greater must God be within me? Greater is he, come on and help me, that is within me than he that is in the world.
And
the crowd goes wild.
Crowd goes wild. And then he, I won't play the rest of it, but he basically says...
kind of circuitous. This is kind of a circuitous way to put that, but okay.
Yeah.
The way he talks, he's really got, I mean, it's got an air of the preacher voice, of course, which is, it's an affect, just for those, as somebody who's been in the leadership of churches for many, many years. This is not how he normally talks. It's the preacher affect that he's putting on. It's a performance. And it's so funny because it kind of sounds like if anybody out there has ever, I don't know, taught Sunday school or, coached a baseball game or something. That's kind of how you talk to kids. Like, hey guys, here's the thing.
True.
Who loves you very much? It's Jesus. That's right. And who are you? Who do you love? That's right. It's Jesus.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe
now go on out there and hit a home run. Let's go, kids.
I should talk like that to my wife. I wake up. Hey, wife.
Yes,
who loves you?
Stay out of
harm's
harm's
pancakes
reach
this morning. All right.
Who's the most beautiful girl in the world?
So he goes on there and says that that we are giants. That God is a giant. I mean, it's just kind of like, again, if you ISO that, it's like not so hot there with Stephen. But anyway,
Stephen Furtick. Exposed.
Yeah, well, we're gonna do some more of that later with
it's
some
all
stuff.
Milk toasty.
It's just milk toasty. That's what it is. It's seeker friendly type of stuff that for those who want to really dig into the word, you're not going to really get that at a Stephen Furtick thing. But if you're down in the dumps.
Yeah,
and you're
it's the megachurch thing. You go to the megachurch to feel good. You don't go there to, necessarily become some radical force necessarily. Not that nobody in megachurches are radical, people of God. Of course, many of them are or could be or have been or am currently. But the kind of megachurches get to be megachurches because you get there and you feel good.
Yeah, and one of the things it does kind of get to me a little bit with some of the hardcore theology is that we're just so perfect now that we're saved, and if we look at ourselves how God sees us, we're just so perfect, and that's not really biblical. Like the whole point of having a savior is like, we're not good enough.
Yeah, well, it's the sort of juxtaposition between we're awesome because God loves us, and what a wretched sinner I am.
Right.
That's right. It's a classic and long-standing sort of juxtaposition within the Christian life, and maybe who knows? I'm not preaching here, but maybe it is both of those things.
It is both of those things, and he kind of touches on that too. So again, I'm not going to slam this guy, for everything that he's said. But just realize that it's a little milk toasty. But moving into the show, I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way.
Oh, is this not the show? I thought we were doing our podcast, Preacher Critics.
That's it. We should just have a segment called Preacher Critics, and then we'll really trigger some people.
I'm sure somebody's doing that already. But that's an interesting idea for a clip show specifically. Not just like a rambly show. You wouldn't want to do like pick one clip and talk about, bash the guy for an entire show. But, you get 10 different clips of 10 different guys and kind of, poke around. That could be fun. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that actually is a good idea. Maybe we just turn it into a segment. Somebody get on the jingle.
I feel like there's some ethical problems with creating a piece of entertainment out of bashing preachers.
Well, we can sort of just remind people that we could break it down. We can remind people that it's not, or if it is or not, a serious issue. I don't know. Maybe it is too much for this show anyway.
I don't know.
Something I would probably do on Face Like the Sun, and I have done.
I thank you for listening to the whole thing, and I think it's valuable for a couple of reasons. If there's any takeaways from us devoting 20 minutes now to this guy,
I don't know.
Being
Enough.
that careful when you're just getting outraged by something some preacher said, and you don't know what the context of what he's saying is. B, remember, when you share it on social media, you're actually benefiting the person you're trying to tear down. And lastly, Preacher's a hard job, but hey, kids, Jesus loves you.
All right.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Oh yeah,
That's you.
Here's the Flippy update. Flippy update, everybody. If you're new to the show, Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to discover new and exciting ways that the robots are taking over the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. Today... Well, Gons, real quick, I noticed that you did a tweet. You did a tweet about Flippy.
I did?
Recently. Yes, somebody was mentioning Flippy. And who was it? Oh, it was Mo Fax.
Oh, yeah. Mo Fax from, him and Adam Curry have a show. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I tweeted at him because he tweeted about Flippy. He was talking about, let me try to pull it up here. Give me a moment.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's not very often. Not a whole lot. Look, I'm not saying I'm the only one who talks about Flippy. I think if anybody wants to compete with how much they talk about Flippy,
Yeah,
I think we hold some sort of world record. But it's not very often you see other podcasters talking about Flippy. But Mo Fax and Adam Curry, it's nice to know that we are kind of on the same page for a second there.
Yeah, so he posted problem reaction solution with some googly eyes, ironically. The looky eyes.
Oh my gosh, you think he listens to the show? Mo, hit me up.
Yeah, and let's see. He has the Meet Flippy, just a screenshot of Flippy with a basket of fries.
The classic Flippy, Miso Robotics Flippy.
Yep, and also a picture of, people protesting.
Where are they? Fast food workers.
Yeah,
asking for $15 an hour.
Yeah, which is dead, by the way. That's not happening.
No, of course not.
It
was one of Biden's campaign promises, so you can guarantee it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So I basically, I mentioned to Mo. I responded in a comment saying like, "Hey, we've been talking about it for a while," and I quoted the tagline. Mm-hmm. How we discuss how robots and AI are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. So yeah, if you're checking it out, we go. Mo.
Okay, Mo, if you clicked in, hi buddy. I was just actually listening today to their episode they did on, what is it called? Critical race theory.
Oh,
critical race theory. Very, very, very good. And of course, Mo, as the resident person of color over there on that show, it's nice to get his perspective. Okay, but back to today's Flippy update. This comes from BGR.com. The headline is NYPD deploys robot dog to home invasion call. Woo!
It's happening.
Flippy coming to a home invasion near you. Police officers regularly put themselves in harm's way as they conduct their daily duties, respond to calls, and patrol neighborhoods. In particularly dangerous situations such as armed standoffs, the risk of serious injury to both the officer and the suspect goes up dramatically. Robots might be able to help, and the NYPD recently purchased a 4-legged black and blue robo-dog in the hopes that it can help defuse tense situations without putting citizens or officers in danger. As the New York Post reports, the new DigiDog robot, oh, come on, guys, that's not even a good name. The new DigiDog robot was recently deployed in response to a home invasion call in which a suspect was reported to be barricaded inside a building. The bot, which is equipped with the two-way communication tools, lights, and cameras. Notice how they don't mention the flamethrower in this one, but okay. Performed a role that would normally be done by officers entering the residence in search of the individual. The robot is designed by Boston Dynamics, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Here's a quote. This dog is going to save lives, protect people, and protect officers, and that's our goal. NYPD Technical Assistance Response Unit Inspector Frank DiGiacomo.
Ooh,
Digi.
In his name.
Gosh. Whoa. It's almost like Digi Cuomo.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, Digi Cuomo with the Digi Dog.
I am your new robo governor, Digi Cuomo. Told the ABC7 in an interview in December. In its most recent deployment, the robot dog found the residence to be empty of occupants, but it has also, yeah, that's a little bit of a letdown there. I was ready to go into some jokes, but now that the dog didn't find anybody. In its most recent deployment, the robot dog found the residence to be empty of occupants, but it has also reportedly been used previously in both a hostage situation and another incident in which a man had barricaded himself inside a residence. Those are situations that would normally have to be tackled simply by waiting for the individual to decide to come out or attempting to make contact and begin a dialogue with the suspect or suspects. In such cases, the robot offers law enforcement a relatively risk-free way to make contact with individuals inside a building that might not be safe for officers to enter. The robot does not have any offensive capabilities yet. I added that part. And it doesn't look particularly threatening, which may help police to calm tense situations faster than they would otherwise be able to. It's not exactly RoboCop, but the DigiDog is already proving to be useful. It might not be long before more and more police forces adopt such hardware in the name of keeping officers and the public safe. So there you go. Officially, Spot has made it onto the force, which is something we've been sort of talking about for a while. It's only a matter of time before, these robots get sent into law enforcement situations. Interesting, though. I mean, it's worth keeping in mind. These dogs are generally autonomous AI robots. Now, they can be taken over and controlled. But, can you imagine being a guy barricading yourself inside of an apartment or something and a DigiDog? I don't know how the DigiDog gets in there. Maybe he crawls through an air vent or busts through the door or something. But suddenly you turn around and there's a robot dog standing there. It'd be pretty terrifying. They said they didn't make it scary looking, but I don't know how to make those Boston Dynamics Spot robots not scary looking. It's a headless dog.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like how the inspector here, Frank Digi Cuomo. Mm-hmm. We're just going to call him Digi Cuomo.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I wonder if this guy's at Twitter.
He in his quote, he says, "This dog is going to save lives." Like, he already considers it a dog. He doesn't say robot dog or a robot's going to save.
That is interesting.
This dog. So
yeah, notice how he's not saying like, our police department, our brave thin blue line will be able to use this tool of technology to save lives. No. The dog itself, it'll start getting medals. It's just a matter of time. But before this dog is standing up on a podium and Cuomo or Digi Cuomo is putting a medal around this dog or hand, something like that. I don't know, man. This is a pretty big step in that direction.
I remember a Simpsons episode. I think it's when Homer goes to space or something, where they celebrate an inanimate rod. It's like just a rod that they celebrate, and Homer thinks he's going to get this is when I was a kid. I don't remember all the details. He thought he was going to get all the accolades for going into space and eating chips and saving the space station or whatever. But the inanimate rod got the medal. This sort of reminds me of, they had it right. I mean, it's not a dog, but a robot dog, but close enough.
Yeah. It's interesting. Again, just kind of, the use of language here, saying the dog is going to save lives, kind of presupposes that it's going to be operating in AI mode and not controlled by an operator, because then the operator would be, saving lives.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird, man. It's kind of like saying, we're arming this Glock 19 saved lives today.
Right.
Which, there's certainly something to be said about that from a Second Amendment perspective.
Yeah. And, along these lines, I didn't know where to put this story, but I thought it was important to just throw in there with the Flippy update. I know this is your thing, but I wanted to, again, toss it into the mix here.
You're treading on my turf,
I know.
bro.
I'm sorry. theconversation.com. To succeed in an AI world, students must learn the human traits of writing. That's the headline.
What?
And I'm thinking, don't humans already
They should
learn
already be doing
human
that.
traits of writing? Haven't we been
Weird.
doing that for centuries?
Mhm.
Students across Australia have started the new school year using pencils, pens, and keyboards to learn to write. Sounds about normal.
Whoa, how revolutionary.
In workplaces, machines are also learning to write so effectively that within a few years, they may write better than humans. Sometimes they already do, as apps like Grammarly demonstrate. Certainly, much everyday writing humans now do may soon be done by machines with artificial intelligence. The predictive text commonly used by phones and email software is a form of AI writing that countless humans use every day. I hate using those, by the way. I always try to say exactly what it doesn't predict I'm going to say. According to an industry research organization, Gartner, AI and related technology will automate production of 30% of all content found on the internet by 2022. That's next year. 1/3 of everything on the internet next year is going to be AI generated.
Written by a robot.
By a robot.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is insanity. I don't need to go much further than this, but
yeah, that does line up with the massive layoffs in the journalistic industry.
Yeah,
this last year, there's some crazy number. It's like 30%, or newsrooms across the country, totally just decimated is not technically the right term, but it was something, some huge number of reporters got fired.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many active Twitter accounts now.
Yeah. And I like this part here. Purposeful writing. AI cannot yet plan and does not have a purpose. Students need to hone skills in purposeful writing that achieves their communication goals. Again, AI is not yet as complex as a human brain, nor does AI have a moral compass. All these issues that we've brought up in the ethics of AI.
That's never stopped them before.
No, exactly. But but I just thought it was interesting the way it's gotten to the point now where AI is so prevalent that they're like, we have to make sure the kids learn human writing. It's like, what kind of crazy world are we living in where that is the first line of an article? But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there as an effect, a response. And to see all the what Flippy is doing to the world, taking over.
And with the Flippy update, there can be one response that somebody could have as especially a kid trying to figure out what they're going to do with their life. What's the point? What's the point of learning any skill when a robot is just going to take it over?
Yeah,
there's sort of this career-based nihilism going around the Gen Zers and whoever's after them. So this is an interesting little piece of, encouragement. Learn to write good.
I'm wondering if we're going to start to see a little bit more of that. You're going to have a wheat and the tare kind of situation where you have one part of the media all about AI, how great it is, and the other part being like, let's make sure we remember to be human type of articles, which is already starting.
It's been a common theme where podcasters think that they're safe from the AI takeover. I think it might still be a little too close to call right now, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Hopefully.
All right, real quick here.
666.
This is from unilad.co.uk. Scottish guy misses out on £156 million lottery win by one number to win £666 instead.
Oof.
So not only do you lose £156 million, you get the mark of the beast too.
Wow. Yeah, that's a heartbreaker.
What would you do if you won $666? Would you be like, burn it? It is
I don't
Satan's
even know if I would
award.
claim it. I mean, if I was one number off from being a bajillionaire like that, but I won 666, I might just call it a burnt offering. Just let it go. Don't even claim it.
Call it a burnt offering.
Just forget about it. Just burn the ticket.
Oh, where's my letter?
Just emotionally.
Yeah, seriously, emotionally, just to live with it.
Just let it go.
Let's get into some real stuff here. Politics.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood. They'll suck
Politics.
your blood.
Okay, to start it off here, let's see what Hairy Legs is up to.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
War never changes.
That's right. ABCnews.go.com, you know, Trump didn't start any new wars and the Democrats just didn't like that. Headline, U.S. carries out airstrike against Iranian-backed militia in Syria. Whew, we're back in Syria, man. Is this Obama all over again?
It didn't even take 40 days.
No,
for Biden to start bombing Syria.
He just couldn't wait, man. He still had that twitchy finger. He's been thinking about it since 2015.
Oh, yeah.
The article goes like this. The United States conducted a military airstrike in eastern Syria along the border with Iraq on Thursday night, targeting Iranian-backed militias in retaliation for a recent rocket strike in Erbil in northern Iraq that left several Americans injured, according to the Pentagon. The airstrike targeted structures in the eastern Syrian town of Abu Kamal that belong to two Iranian-backed militias that have launched rocket attacks in the past against American facilities in Iraq, including the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, according to a U.S. official. It's funny little stanza here. We blew up these buildings because in the past they launched some rockets. They don't say when. They don't say how long ago. I mean, this could have happened 5 years ago. I didn't look into it. Quote, at President Biden's direction. Specifically at President Biden's direction, not his approval.
We know for sure it wasn't him then.
That's a good point.
It's the whole reason why he became president is so they can say those lines or those words.
It's all going to be at Biden's direction. And by at Biden's direction, they mean he was napping at the time. U.S. military forces earlier this evening conducted airstrikes against infrastructure utilized by Iranian-backed militant groups in eastern Syria. John Kirby, Pentagon spokesman, said in a statement issued Thursday night, quote, these strikes were authorized in response to recent attacks against American and coalition personnel in Iraq and to ongoing threats to those personnel, Kirby continued. Quote, specifically, these strikes destroyed multiple facilities located at a border control point used by a number of Iranian-backed militant groups, including Kataib, Hezbollah, and Kataib Saeed al-Shuhada, KSS. Another interesting, it was border control points that they blew up or whatever, which has another interesting effect in that the border is no longer controlled. So, that may allow free movement back and forth between those two countries, which by my calculation might make it a little bit more easy for militias and, enemy combatants to go back and forth. It's kind of strange. This kind of has a ring of, if you're a John Grisham fan or something, or Tom Clancy, you have this, we need a reason to blow up this border control point for, so we can get our CIA agents over the border or something like that. I don't know. Seems like there's more to it than just, we just had to, I don't know.
There's for sure more to it. We're just not privy to all the details.
Just not. I lost my top security clearance a few years back, folks. So sorry, I can't keep you posted. Another official described the airstrike as targeting a location through which both groups engaged in smuggling into Iraq. Okay. So again, strange. They did an airstrike on the border control point where there was smuggling. So now that it's a heaping pile of rubble, now there can be no smuggling. I don't think so. Quote, this proportionate military response was conducted together with diplomatic measures, including consultation with coalition partners, said Kirby. The operation sends an unambiguous message. President Biden will act to protect American and coalition personnel. At the same time, we have acted in a deliberate manner that aims to de-escalate the overall situation in both eastern Syria and Iraq. And then there's
Here's
more
how we
to it.
de-escalate the situation. We bomb them. Bomb them.
We're just de-escalating. Why are you so mad? It goes on. I don't know if there's. I didn't find any key points other than the important ones there.
Yeah, I like the social media memes. People saying like, it's ironic that we're bombing
that's good.
Iran again. Yeah. And why so Syria? Are you Syria?
Okay. Thank you, memesters.
I know. This I got a couple clips. We don't have to play them, but it's interesting to watch all these talking head pundits. They have to defend Biden at all cost. So they use that justification of like, oh, we're defending. This is just going to make things safer. And I mean, they really had to jump on that propaganda bandwagon pretty early here.
Yeah. No, this is great. He's got kids in containers. He's got bombs dropping in Iran and Syria again. Things are going his way.
Yeah, George, I think this is Papadopoulos. Is that how you say his name? He mentioned how President Biden has essentially bombed Syria quicker than he delivered on the $2,000 stimulus check. So, before you get your money, America, you're going to get to business here.
Yeah. Notice how it's $1,400 and not $2,000
right.
too.
Yeah. Do math, people. Come on.
They needed the extra $600 per person to pay for the missiles.
Right. And somebody tweeted this flashback, 2016 interview with CBS This Morning, Joe Biden talking about Assad in Syria.
What's interesting about this too to me is the idea that you got so many people who want you to do something about Assad. First, you're smiling. You've heard it so often.
And yet when you press the elected officials, they say, well, what do you want us to do about Assad? Take him out? Is that what you want me to do? Tell me how this ends, Charlie. If you're Senator Charlie Rose, tell me how it ends, Charlie.
Jeez. It's a common trait amongst a lot of these Biden administration people. They get all defensive and weird really quick.
So weird.
Like just it's really weird vibes, man.
Yeah, I don't know what he got all like that smile, he had that grin, he wasn't saying anything.
What are you gonna do, punk?
What would you do, Charlie? Tell me what you would do, Charlie.
Charlie. Tell me, Charlie.
It's just the weirdest thing ever.
You see Charlie just like, oh my gosh.
Get me out of here.
Jeez, what is wrong with this guy?
Bomb him. That's what we should do.
Yeah, apparently.
Good boy, Charlie.
Saki does the same thing.
Yeah. They get really
with the kids in cages. What was her big one? She's like, well, we can't have kids getting coronavirus. Is that what you want? Do you want kids with coronavirus? Whoa, dude. Okay, chill.
Yeah. Isn't there a psychological thing going on when people are a little too defensive about stuff? Maybe something else going on? I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about, Gons. What, are you talking about me? You're not talking about me. Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, this, I hope this is, obviously, I know it's not going to end with this, and there's obviously an agenda that is greater than what we can perceive through this one event. It's almost like they just picked up where they left off. In fact, actually, even during Trump, didn't he do a lot of drone strikes?
Trump?
They didn't. Yeah, Trump did a few, multiple drone strikes. I think.
Yeah, he did pretty good his first couple of years. He caught up though.
Yeah,
on the second half, on the back nine, he really made up for it.
He had more than Obama, I think, when it came down to it.
By the end, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but there's a few years there where he was playing it cool.
He was trying, but again, this goes to show our controllers are not presidents.
No,
they are low-level puppets. That
speaking of which. I think our controllers should get their own little zone, their own little militarized zone.
This is crazy.
Yeah. I know. Talk about big moments in American history. This is coming from Bloomberg.com.
Yep.
You mind if I take this? Did you have a plan?
No, go ahead. The only thing I wanted to say for this article The headline is "The Capitol being turned into a fortress spurs DC push for statehood," and the image they used for this is like the barbed wire barricade.
Oh, it's perfect
in front of the White House, right? But there's like this red
the Capitol
hue,
building,
or the Capitol buildings.
Building.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the Capitol building. And there's this red hue on the fence. And if anybody's been watching WandaVision, there's a dimensional barrier.
Interesting. Yeah. It
There's
does
a red hue.
look like that, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I made a big deal about it because I was like, hey, doesn't it look the same? And then
it looks very similar. Yeah, sort of that like pixelated little thing.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if we'll get to it, but I just watched Winter Soldier last night.
Oh yeah.
Which I had not watched. I had never watched Winter Soldier. It just looked so dumb. I wasn't interested. I don't know if there's a better predictive programming film from Avengers than Winter Soldier.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, remind me later. We might talk about it or not. Who knows? You can catch me on Basil's Avengers Corner, my 10th podcast. Okay, Bloomberg.com headline: The Capitol being turned into a fortress spurs DC push for statehood. In the days after January 6th insurrection, a 7-foot-high fence topped with coils of razor wire went up around the U.S. Capitol in Washington. It was described as a temporary measure to protect the seat of Congress for a month or longer, but on January 28th, Yogananda Pittman, the acting head of the U.S. Capitol Police, called for the making of the fence permanent, citing the need for, quote, vast improvements to security. Even with the recent violence fresh in their minds, DC is, I've reached my free article limit. Hold on. Let me hack the mainframe real quick.
Do you want me to keep reading while you're doing that?
It should take me 1 second. I'm almost in. Let me get past the firewall. Hold on, my mouse is not working. That's right. Oh, I've lost control of my VR hand. Go, paste. Go. Sorry, everybody.
Everybody loves waffles.
Okay, here we go. I did it. I'm in. Even with the recent violence fresh in their minds, DC's elected leaders denounced the idea. Mayor Muriel Bowser tweeted that the city, quote, will not accept a long-term fence. Well, that didn't work well. Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton, the district's non-voting congresswoman, introduced a bill to block it. The DC government has no jurisdiction over the Capitol grounds, which are federal territory, so Bowser can't simply tell Pittman no. Local citizens bristled. An online petition against the plan had garnered more than 20,000 signatures as of February 22nd. Patrolled by National Guard troops, the current fence is about 3 miles around, encompassing not just the Capitol, but adjacent landmarks such as the U.S. Supreme Court, the Library of Congress, the U.S. Botanic Garden, not the Botanical Garden. Oh, no. It cuts off main thoroughfares, effectively severing areas east of the Capitol from downtown and west of the city. Pierre Charles L'Enfant. That's crazy. This guy's name is Pierre Charles the Baby.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Charles L'Enfant. Planned Washington in 1791 as the embodiment of American democracy, with its 2 poles, the Capitol and the White House, each visible from the other, an architectural check on one branch of the government gaining too much power. Now, both are unapproachable and half hidden behind fortifications. You know, interesting little detail here. When I was reading the word hidden, my brain translated it to Biden.
Biden.
Yeah, some sort of Hayden Biden thing there. Resentment over the cordoning off of the People's House is feeding into the DC statehood movement, which, with the Democrats in charge of the White House and both houses of Congress, now has its most promising, if narrow, political window ever. Tim Krepp, a tour organizer who's lived in Capitol Hill neighborhood since 2001, acknowledges the prudence of a short-term fence, but says there's, quote, absolutely no appetite in his community for a permanent one. Quote, this is a wall for us, he says. To get anywhere downtown, it's going to be darn near impossible. He's not sure how his children will get to school once in-person classes resume.
Wait.
Well,
aren't these the same people that are like, can't put up walls? Don't put up walls on the border.
Yeah, you're talking about Democrats. Yeah, of course. Yeah. No. You don't put up walls around the country. You just got to put up walls between the country and them. Because,
when they have control of the all three branches of government, that's when we put up the wall.
Well, it's funny and it's ironic, but it's also true and terrifying.
It is terrifying. This is a communist takeover.
It's ironic, but it doesn't stop at ironic. It's literally terrifying, where they have control of pretty much the entire government and wall themselves off with a permanent wall so nobody else can get in. I mean, it's also very symbolic.
Yeah.
You know, we have control. We're putting up walls. Nobody else is getting in. The article continues. It is WandaVision. Wow.
Government Democrats. The Democrats is Wanda.
I think we need to break down WandaVision more. There might be some clues as to how to deal with this. Remember? Oh, never mind. I don't want to do spoilers. Okay. Emergency vehicles have to make a detour around the fence compound, costing critical time, says Charles Allen, the DC council member for Ward 6. Yeah, emergency vehicles. Biden's wall could be killing old ladies.
Oh, no.
I know.
Kids in cages, bombing Syria, killing old women.
I know. You know, there's kids in cages in DC too.
Oh, yeah.
The DC council member for Ward 6, a swath of the city that abuts the Capitol. Besides that, locals have lost cherished green spaces where they took walks and relaxed, such as the Capitol grounds laid out by Frederick Law Olmsted, the designer of New York Central Park. Quote, "For those of us that live here, it's part of our neighborhood," Allen says. District residents are upset, yada, yada, yada. Okay.
Yeah, all right. It's interesting. They talk about the escalation started after 1995 Oklahoma City truck bombing.
Yeah, they start talking about all these terrorist attacks and stuff.
How are they? They're just justifying it and tying it to all the times in history. They bring up 9/11, trauma-based mind control.
They totally lay on the trauma. Yes, exactly. Yeah. They lay it on. They tell you how much people don't like it. Then they associate it with multiple terrorist attacks, talking about how, you remember how 9/11 was. You remember how bad that was, right? You're older than 22.
What are you going to do, Charlie? What would you do, Charlie?
What are you going to do, Charlie? You just want another 9/11? You want kids with COVID and 9/11 again, Charlie? Okay.
Even though isn't that what Pelosi wanted? We need a 9/11 style thing on the whole insurrection of January 6th.
9/11 style commission.
Yeah.
I forget what the quote was. I think there was a clip that, this would have been a year ago or so. Oh, no, it wasn't Charles. No, it wasn't Charles Schwab. It would have been somebody else. Where they were talking about we need another 9/11 style event.
Yeah, well, yeah. Who was that? I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, somebody in the chat.
Now we're just fake news. Don't listen to us, folks.
We're just fake news. Don't listen.
No, anyways, we'll find it. We'll bring it back to the show. Anyways, I don't know if there's any other big points in here. It's a rather extensive article.
Well,
just
why?
To end.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, wrap it up.
I was just going to wrap it up here at the bottom. The House of this is talking about the statehood, which. Man, we haven't even talked about statehood of Washington.
Yeah.
Or DC. The House of Representatives voted 232 to 180 in favor of DC statehood in June 2020, only for the bill to die in the Republican Senate. With Democrats now controlling the Senate, momentum for statehood has grown. In 2016, 86% of district voters approved a statehood referendum, and President Joe Biden has said DC should be a state. The hurdles remain high. Passage of a bill in the Senate would require eliminating the filibuster or skirting it through a rule change, yada, yada, yada. Even if it does gain statehood, DC would still contain a federal district at its heart. Conflicts between locals and the federal government would continue, but statehood advocates say at least they'd have voting representatives in Congress to express what petitions and yard signs say now. Don't fence us in. So there you go. I don't really have an educated opinion on Washington D.C. becoming a state. Do you have any? Well, do you have an angle on that?
Yeah, I think they're just trying to. First off, we've heard stuff about how they're already a separate, like a corporation type of deal. But also, I think they're trying to be the central point of power, much like the Vatican is. Because aren't they their own basically country?
Well, that's the idea of the district, yeah. But it's interesting how they would become a state, but then it basically the federal district or whatever would still exist. It would just be significantly smaller. They're talking about the federal district, basically DC, would contain just the federal property, the expanse between the White House and the Capitol building and everything in between, basically. So it's basically shrinking the federal district and adding a state. I don't really like the idea of that, because with the federal district, at least you have citizens living there. Yeah. You have regular people who can make their interests known and sort of govern the area that way. If the federal district is shrunk down to basically just federal buildings with no residents, now it's this like weird pseudo, I don't know, little control zone. Well, and it gives them more power to fence it off.
Well,
depending where they draw those lines, the citizens will lose any ability to make comment on if they put up fences or not.
It'll be like like in 1933 where they made everybody turn in their gold. It'll just be the same thing with land,
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing. That's the interesting thing about the Democrats here. They want to give, if they make DC its own state and keep the little federal district, then they can put up fences and nobody can say a single word about it. Come get us.
They are planning the false flag events continually to justify this type of thinking. This is CNN.com. State of the Union Capitol Police Chief warns militia groups want to, quote, blow up the Capitol when Biden addresses Congress.
So, yeah, right.
CNN, true news. Come on. I'll just read a couple paragraphs here. Acting U.S. Capitol Police Chief Yogananda Pittman warned Thursday that militia groups involved in the January 6th insurrection want to, quote, blow up the Capitol and, quote, kill as many members as possible when President Joe Biden addresses Congress. I thought they arrested all the people that organized the January 6th thing.
If they're so sure about this, why don't they just go arrest them now? Why even?
Then there would be Minority Report. Pressed by House lawmakers to provide a timeline for removing the razor wire fencing and other enhanced security measures installed after the U.S. Capitol attack, Pittman said law enforcement remains concerned that threats by known militia groups, quote, with a direct nexus to the State of the Union address. Quote,
what does that mean?
It's the moment. Quote, we know that members of the militia groups that were present on January 6th have stated their desires that they want to blow up the Capitol and kill as many members as possible with a direct nexus to the State of the Union, which we know the date has not been identified. She told House lawmakers.
Direct nexus. Nexus means like center of something.
Key point. Yeah. Yeah. Quote, we know that the insurrectionists attacked the Capitol weren't only interested in attacking members of Congress and officers, she added. They wanted to send a symbolic message to the nation as to who's in charge of that legislative process. Oh, brother. Okay, well, yeah, there you go. There's your justification. CNN is bringing all the facts. I don't even know if I can get through this article. We're short on time.
It's pretty brutal.
It's brutal. My brain.
Yeah, we got other stuff to talk about. Yada yada yada. Whatever. They have their sources. I mean, it's to be real. I'm sure somebody wants to do that. People want to do that all the time. It's just is it a matter of, are they actually planning to do that? Are they capable of doing that? We'll get a FBI set up soon, and then we'll know.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't end there. There's other issues going on. This ongoing scam demonic.
Vaccine. A pandemic special. I tried to tell you.
That's right. Let's check in with the pandemic special. And again, we tried to tell you, this one's coming from the Lancet.com. And if you'll remember, just as a quick review, the Lancet, which is a very, or at least previously was a very respected, one of the most respected sort of science outlets, peer-reviewed journal type things. And then suddenly, during the pandemic, they would have scientific articles regarding masks or PCR or, the several different categories of science coming out about the pandemic that went against the sort of, the mainstream consensus. And then suddenly the Lancet was so evil. One of the oldest and most respected scientific journals has been compromised. And then they somehow got the respect back, yada, yada, yada. So there we go. The much embattled Lancet has this to say: the use of rapid lateral flow antigen testing, FLT, for SARS-CoV-2 has been questioned, with uncorroborated reports of poor LFT sensitivity. This is the antigen test, not the PCR. The debate surrounding the use of the Innova lateral flow SARS-CoV-2 antigen test in the UK risks confusing policymakers internationally and potentially stalling a deployment of LFTs in other countries. As scientists and health professionals evaluating some of the world's largest pilots of LFT, we wish to challenge those interpretations and clarify the evidence on how such testing might be used to detect SARS-CoV-2 in minutes to improve COVID-19 control measures.
Just to clarify too, the headline of this article is clarifying the evidence on SARS-CoV-2 antigen rapid tests in public health responses to COVID-19. And I don't think you want to read the whole thing, Basil. It's pretty long.
Sure. So, what's weird? I didn't read the headline because the Lancet has a white background and the text of the headline is white. Why would they do that? Is it not like that for you?
No, I got a header image. So,
okay.
So basically, this article is trying to push the LFT over the PCR.
Yes, PCR, which is sort of, again, the mainstream consensus is the gold standard.
Right.
But they're trying to change that because, of course, PCR is a sort of manipulatable quote unquote test that basically whoever's running the lab can, to put it simply, if you're running a PCR test, you can choose whether you want it to come up positive or negative.
Pretty much.
That's the long and short of it.
Pretty much. Yeah. So we covered, and I have tweets on it as well from back in, I think, October, or maybe November, December, where a group of scientists came out and spoke up against the original World Health Organization justification, the study that gave them the power to say, use this test around the world to test for COVID-19. And it was a PCR test. And they didn't even have, number one, they didn't give any guidelines. Uh-huh. I think it was called SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. They didn't provide that at all. And they didn't exemplify the test working or anything. Yeah. So the labs could do whatever, as many cycle threshold counts as they wanted to make it seem like there's, more there than there isn't. But anyway, so there's been a whole bunch of people, just independent media folk like you and I and others out there, calling this thing out, using their own documents, saying like, hey, this doesn't seem right. There's some problems with the PCR test, quoting the guy who invented the PCR test who passed away at the end of 2019. Yeah. And so anyway, we've known for a long time that there's issues there, but now the Lancet comes out and basically affirms the stuff we've been saying. And he in the article here, it states that for public health measures, another approach is needed. Playing down the PCR, saying it's no good. Testing to help slow the spread of SARS-CoV-2 asks not whether someone has RNA in their nose from earlier infection, but whether they are infectious today. It is a net loss to the health, social, and economic well-being of communities if post-infectious individuals test positive and isolate for 10 days. In our view, current PCR testing is therefore not the appropriate gold standard for evaluating a SARS-CoV-2 public health test.
Wow.
Hello.
Yeah.
We've been saying that. Most people infected with SARS-CoV-2 are contagious for 4 to 8 days. And then it goes into some of the specifics. The short window of transmissibility contrasts with a median 22 to 33 days of PCR positivity.
Classic.
This suggests that 50 to 75% of the time an individual is PCR positive, they are likely to be post-infectious. Which means, even if you test positive, between 50, more than half, almost 3/4 of the time, it's likely it's post-infectious, meaning you can't get somebody else infected with it, even if you have it. So the fact that they would lock down everything is just absurd. And so they get into all of it here. We'll leave links in the show notes, canarycrynewstalk.com.
Yeah, and it's the Lancet, so it's got all of the it's got all the resources. There's like 30 resources or something that you can scoot through and see where they get all the info from. So very helpful. And there you go. From one of the most respected science outlets, PCR is not the gold standard. It is and it's one of the reasons why numbers are so high. And it's one of the reasons, if numbers are high, lockdown increases. So if your goal is to control the population, PCR would be the gold standard. So I don't know. That makes sense.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
WAPO, Washington Post. Wow, this thing is covering up part of the headline here. Not the mark of the beast. Evangelicals should fight conspiracy theories and welcome the vaccine.
I love this. Yes. WAPO, the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos's media outlet here, is trying to tell evangelicals what theology they should be acting on.
Yeah. It says here, in the Gospel of Luke, the Bible tells us a paralyzed man who sought to see Jesus but couldn't get to him because of the crowds. His friends found a way by cutting a hole in the roof and letting him down on his bed by ropes so that he can find healing. Similarly, in this time of the coronavirus pandemic, evangelical Christians should join with other Americans in holding the ropes for those who are in danger of serious illness or death. That includes urging people to get vaccinated. Both of us in recent weeks have hosted webinars with our friend and fellow Christian Francis Collins.
Oh, perfect.
Mr. Vatican.
One of the three amigos.
The three amigos.
The three amigos of the pandemic.
Director of the National Institute of Health, answering every possible question we can imagine regarding the safety and efficacy of the vaccines. We did so because we know that according to surveys, roughly a quarter of the public are reluctant to be vaccinated. I'd say it's probably more than that. Many of the reasons given are fear of possible side effects, lack of trust in the safety and effectiveness of the vaccine, or concerns about the newness of the vaccine. Some of the hesitation about the vaccines have come from our own evangelical tribes. Some of these are very understandable. Some African American evangelicals remember when past medical initiatives, such as the Tuskegee experiment, that were horrific matters of racial injustice, and rightly seek to make sure that any medical innovation is nothing of the sort. The good
Tuskegee experiment was when the government purposefully gave a bunch of black people, I think it was syphilis.
I think so. Yeah. I think you're right. The good news is that the vaccine development in this case has been remarkably transparent. Oh, has it now? So much that we know how the government is, or at least Fauci is laundering money through all this stuff to make himself rich. And vaccinations in this case is a means of working for, not against, racial justice, since communities of color are disproportionately affected by COVID-19, because we know COVID-19 is racist. Some evangelicals, along with some Roman Catholics and others, have wondered whether being vaccinated would compromise our pro-life commitment to human dignity for fear the vaccines were made through cells from abortions, which traditional vaccines are, right, from one aborted fetus. Mm-hmm. This, though, is not the case. And we agree with, it's still an aborted fetus. It's just one aborted fetus that they've cloned and replicated from the stem cell and all that stuff. So it's a little. But anyway, and we agree with Pope Francis and leading bioethicists from across the religious spectrum that the use of these vaccines is not only consistent with pro-life ethic, but it is a recognition of the value of protecting life, especially that of vulnerable elderly and those with compromised immune systems. What about my body, my choice? Still, some are reluctant to be vaccinated because they have read or heard conspiracy theories about the dangers of the vaccines. Some have found on their social media feeds or in their email inboxes. I like how they have to describe it. Email inboxes are articles by anti-vaccine activists making wild and unsubstantiated claims about the dangers of the coronavirus vaccines. Others have seen even more bizarre claims, such as that Bill Gates is seeking to implant microchips of the Book of Revelations. Triggered me.
Nobody can get it right, man.
Well, I mean, technically, they didn't say Revelations. Okay, so it's part of the sentence, so I guess I can let it go.
Yeah, okay.
Such as that Bill Gates is seeking to implant microchips of the Book of Revelations, Mark of the Beast, into our bloodstreams. The net result is often that even those who are not given to conspiracy theorizing can just assume that seeing so many alarms about vaccines ought to make one wary. After all, most of us do not have medical expertise to answer every floated claim. These conspiracy theories, however, are not rooted in reality, according to the article. Indeed, many of them come from the same sources that previously told us that the coronavirus itself was a hoax, or even worse, a plandemic mapped out by the government for some purpose or another. These sources told us that no more would die from the COVID than from the seasonal flu, or that after the presidential election, we would hear no more about the COVID. I keep saying the COVID. Or social distancing or masking. These claims were demonstrated to be false, and the dark claims about the vaccines are too. Well, a lot of that kind of manipulated.
Claims.
Yeah. Indeed, the vaccines are a cause for Christians to rejoice and to give glory to God. Glory to God, jam me up.
Rejoice.
The Bible, after all, speaks of medicine as a common grace discovered by human beings but given by God. The Apostle Paul prescribes wine for Timothy's stomach ailment. Yeah, wine. Comparing wine to mRNA vaccines, probably recognizing the disinfecting properties of wine and settling the stomach and preventing dysentery. Vaccination, probably, he says. Good Bible commentary. Vaccination, likewise, is a preventative measure, except that in this case, the prevention is not simply for the one taking the vaccine, but for the entire community. We've all lost so much during this pandemic. For Christians, one of the most awful aspects, apart from the death of those we love, is the isolation we have had from one another, along with our feelings of powerlessness to change the situation. The vaccines change that equation. By getting vaccinated as soon as our time is called, we can actively work for what we have been praying for. Churches filled with people, hugs in the church foyer, and singing loudly together the hymns we love. And the Bible is pretty explicit that that's not the church.
You want to go to church? You want to get back and see your buddy Furtick?
You want to go back to church, Charlie?
Get the jab. Charlie, what do you want, Charlie? You want kids to have COVID and go to church?
And at the same time, we can express our love for neighbor, especially the sick and elderly, by reducing the chance that we might inadvertently pass along a virus that could kill them. The men on the rooftop took a risk of, at best, looking like fools, or at worst, falling through the unstable roof. Which, didn't they do that? Didn't they fall through? Anyway. Or maybe not. I'm thinking of another story. I'm thinking there's a Japanese story that's similar in nature. I think they stole it from the Bible. But they loved their friend and wanted to get him to Jesus. We don't need to make ropes or tear up roof tiles to love our friends and neighbors. All we're asked to do is get a shot. As evangelical Christians, we should all hear the challenge and say, Amen.
Oh, gosh. This is so cringy.
Oh, man. I don't know what's worse, Furtick or this guy.
So cringy. It was, yeah. Furtick may have written it.
He may have written it. Wow.
Hey, kids, do you love Jesus? Do you love Jesus? Well, get the jab. Jesus love jab. Starts with a J. Jesus jab.
All right, so that's
that. Jesus Fuentes on YouTube says, you forgot a woman. Yeah,
that's right.
Amen and a woman.
And a woman. I have that ISO somewhere here. It's not at the tip of my button here, but yep. So there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not much to say about this except for it's a big swing and a miss. Nice try there,
nice
Wapo.
Try. Yeah, especially when the Lancet publishes that 75% of people who test positive with PCR aren't contagious.
Yeah, right.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, so there's that. It doesn't get any better, though. This is Vice.com. China.
Oh, please. May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, please. I just want to read the first sentence.
Sure. Read the headline first.
No. Vice.com. This is great. China gave U.S. diplomats anal COVID tests in error, American officials say. And in the history's best first sentence of any article ever, it reads like this. The Chinese government has promised to stop using anal swabs on American diplomats to test for COVID-19 after Washington complained that the practice was undignified, the U.S. State Department said. The Chinese government has promised to stop using anal swabs on American diplomats.
Welcome to Chinese Show!
Here's a quote. The State Department never agreed to this kind of testing and protested directly to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs when we learned that some staff were subject to it, a State Department spokesperson told Vice World News. We never agreed to this.
I'm picturing these politicians just, having to
It's the craziest. It's the craziest thing. It's the craziest thing. And you know that the Chinese were just doing it just to mess with them.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, we promise we'll stop. We promise. We never agreed to this kind of testing.
Never agreed to this.
I love it was we never agreed to this and protested directly. Very strong wording. The spokesperson said Beijing had assured Washington that the test was given in error. Whoopsies. It was an accident. We swear we didn't mean to do that to you. And that the diplomatic personnel were exempt from the test, which was mandatory for incoming travelers in some parts of China. Quote, we have instructed staff to decline this test if it is asked of them, as was done in the past. So they've done it in the past. They've let people slide in the past. But even after the State Department never agreed and directly protested, they still did it. On Thursday afternoon, China's foreign ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian denied Beijing had asked U.S. diplomats in China to undergo anal swab tests. Yeah, I'm sure he denied that they asked. I'm sure they didn't even ask. It's not how China works. Some Chinese regions have been ordering anal swabs for people under quarantine, including those who arrive from abroad. Authorities say the tests can avoid missing infections. It's not clear how many U.S. diplomats or their families. Oh, Jesus, just the hits keep on coming. It's not clear how many U.S. diplomats or their family members have gone through the test. We lost count. It's not even clear how many diplomats we've done this to. The State Department spokesperson said it is committed to preserving the dignity of American diplomats and their families, consistent with the Vienna Convention. Is this suggesting? Okay, hold on. Consistent with the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations and other diplomatic law provisions. So they're suggesting that China specifically was violating the Vienna Convention by doing this to our diplomats. I mean, they're probably right. It's, if anything is against the law, it's this. In an online post earlier in February, China's National Health Commission said in some cases the coronavirus can be more readily detected in anal samples than in throat and nasal samples, but it acknowledged rectal swabs are not suitable for mass use because they are inconvenient and unpopular.
This is deep.
I'd say truer The truer sentence has never been uttered. Not suitable for mass use because they are inconvenient and unpopular. The world's greatest understatement. According to the commission's instructions, the anal samples are collected. Okay, we know how they're collected.
We don't need to read the rest
There
of
you
this.
go. We don't need to finish.
What I want to know is why are we finding out about this now? Were there a bunch of politicians going to China that, I guess this is just what they do here in China.
It's a different culture. Don't be culturally insensitive.
Yeah, I don't know.
You eat the food they give you and you use everything else. Yeah. No, I mean, it's funny. It's very funny. I'm sure this was not very funny at the time for these diplomats. Especially when it comes to diplomats, you get your diplomatic, I forget what it's called, the diplomatic pouch. You get your little bank bag thing. If you're a diplomat that you can travel in and out of countries, that is locked and the country is not allowed to search it. So there's like extreme privacy on your, not all your luggage, but this little pouch thing. And traditionally, it's been used to smuggle out CIA material or smuggle in drugs. There was this was years ago on the show. We covered the story about I think it was like a Saudi prince or some diplomat from the Middle East had some party boy diplomat came into the U.S. and smuggled like a ton of drugs. He had like an ounce of mushrooms. He had some ecstasy in there. He just came to New York to party and filled his diplomatic bag with party drugs. So the diplomatic bag is safe, but nothing else. That's a little sound effect you have not busted out a whole lot recently, and has made a lot of appearances on this show.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've used the boing.
Not undeservingly.
No, I think it's well deserved.
Yeah.
But let's finish this up before we take a quick break, and then we got to zoom through the rest of the stories here.
Some bubble vato gonna help me.
This is from WenatcheeWorld.com. Back to school. Pandemic continues, but life goes on at Wenatchee and Eastmont High. And this story went viral not because life is normal for these kids, but did you see this? Okay,
what are you looking at? The band. The band kids.
There's a band that's playing there. They got their saxophones, but they're each in their individual tents, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a 1-person tent. And each kid has their own in the band room while they're playing their instruments. I will say this is better than all the pictures floating around of the band kids who cut a hole in their mask to play their saxophone.
I guess, but it looks ridiculous. Number one. Number two,
yeah.
Have you seen Spinal Tap? Have you seen Rock and Roll Creation 1984? Yes. There's a scene where they're in these egg-shaped things. They're kind of like, I don't know, alien eggs, I guess, and they emerge from it, but the bass player gets stuck inside and the thing doesn't open. And it just reminded me of that. Just again, life mimicking parody.
That's true. Yeah, Spinal Tap was predictive programming.
Ahead of the game.
Kids stuck playing instruments in little pods.
The tech runs out, tries to fix it. He's still playing. He's a trooper. He keeps playing his bass, but he's stuck inside the.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Creepy egg thing. Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, times. 1984, kids, back in the day when life wasn't so pandemic-y.
So pandemic-y. All right, and with that, Gons, I think it's time to take a break.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
Okay, folks, we're just going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere because after the break, We've got some amazing headlines. We've got some Beast System news that you're not going to want to miss. And, we're also going to be talking about Ravi Zacharias and his recent issues. I know, Gonz, you have some things to say about that. And then, of course, some 33 updates. It's going to be a good second half of the show, so don't go anywhere. But first, we want to thank some of our producers. This episode of Canary Cry News Talk, episode 305. Now, here's the thing, folks. We're on the value for value model. You might notice no ad reads, no affiliate codes. That's because we believe, as does the father of marketing believes, that... what was his name? Edward Bernays. That's right. Yep. In the mid 20th century there, straight from the horse's mouth. And we agree with him that advertising is purposeful brainwashing. It's commercialized brainwashing. Edward Bernays believed that, human beings just want to be told what to think, and that there's a small number of men at the top who have the privilege of creating the worldview of all those below. And how do they do that? They do it through advertising. You may think that's a little hyperbolic, but truly it's not. Advertisers and marketers around the world, they love practicing the Hegelian dialectic. Make up problems, and then, sell you a product, make you think you have a problem, sell you a product to fix that problem. It's also tied up with all the evil things of our time: data harvesting, privacy concerns, intrusive algorithms. Everything, folks. It's all because of advertising. And so we decided long ago that we did not want to join with Edward Bernays and turn our listeners into a commodity to be packaged up like cattle and sold to advertisers for our own personal gain. Just doesn't sound right. So instead, we're on the value for value model, which is simple. We create the value. We do it 3 times a week, and we do just the very best we can. And if you get any value out of what we do, you are invited, you are called upon to put value back into the system. And it's the only way that the show keeps going. Again, people think I'm being hyperbolic there. It's literally the way it is. As long as producers keep producing, the show keeps going on. So many listeners, just like you, dear listener, have decided that Canary Cry News Talk, they've given their attention, they've given their trust, they enjoy the show, and they want it to keep going. And the only way for it to keep going is for people to decide that they want to become a producer. Now, the first way to become a producer is to head over to patreon.com/CCNT, Canary Cry News Talk, patreon.com/CCNT. And it's an easy way, if it's got some middleware there. It's not the most direct way, but it's a fine way to support the show. And Gonz, are you ready to thank our Patreon producers?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, he's ready, everybody. Well, thankfully, we have one new producer over there on Patreon, and that is producer Eric the Great.
You must be great. Thank you, producer Eric.
That's right.
The Great.
Thank you very much, producer Eric the Great. Now, we also have patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. Canary Cry Radio is our interview style show. Please, you should go check it out. Find it on your favorite podcast player. It's also on YouTube, I believe. Canary Cry Radio is different from Canary Cry News Talk. We do interview style shows, talking to experts and scholars, academics, authors, researchers, filmmakers, who all study and present these types of things. So if you like Canary Cry News Talk, you'll definitely like Canary Cry Radio. And we have a new producer over there, and that is Producer Paul.
Producer Paul.
Thank you very much, Producer Paul. Now, here's the thing, folks. If you don't like Patreon, that's okay. We understand. A lot of people don't like Patreon. That's why we have canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. CanaryCryRadio.com/support is a great way to become a producer of the show. There's PayPal options there if you want to join in the exclusive elite club of producers who have committed to a monthly producership. You can do that there. But if commitment is not your thing, you can also make a one-time producership in any amount. There's also cryptocurrency and all sorts of fun information there. You should definitely go take a read through CanaryCryRadio.com/support. You'll read about the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. Again, another elite group of Canarians who have really made a practice of supporting the show, and so we honor them there. Now, Gons, who's coming in on the PayPal?
PayPal producers. First up, we have Malik W.
Thank you very much, producer Malik. I've been calling him producer Malik.
Yep.
I haven't been. Have you been corrected?
No, I haven't. I don't think he usually when he is mentioned, he's like the first person to comment.
Yes.
Pre-stream, and you say Malik, and I think I've mentioned it to you.
Yeah,
once
maybe
today. But
Malik,
you brushed me off. You were like, I'm gonna call him Malik. I was like, all right, okay.
Well, now's your chance to correct us.
No,
producer.
It's Malik.
It is Malik.
It is Malik.
Oh.
Yes.
How do you know?
Because that's how Malik is spelled.
I'm reserving judgment until I hear straight from Malik. I'm keeping my eye on the chat. We can continue thanking producers.
All right. Next up, we have producer Lorelei.
Thank you very much, producer Lorelei, coming in with the 33 Illuminati handler producership.
She is one of our handlers for this show.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Jessica C.
Thank you, producer Jessica C.
And she has a quick note. Happy Friday, guys. Weighing in on Gonz's beard and stash. I say trim it for all the reasons you mentioned. All right. I might think about doing that.
We'll see. I thought about it afterwards. Believe it or not, it was a couple days after. It was a day after the show when you asked me if you should trim or not. And I realized I should have told you it's okay to trim. Just clean it up.
I think I do need to trim. The mustache is pretty.
You don't have to make it shorter. It's just making some clean lines, getting rid of those the flyaway guys. I
didn't realize. So this is like the longest I've ever had my mustache. It's looking pretty. Starting to look kind of handlebar. Like I didn't know that's the look. That I would get.
Oh, it's a good look. A samurai with a handlebar is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
so
really
there you
intense.
go. You have my permission to clean it up. Clean up the neckline, get those flyaways. You'll feel very refreshed when you do.
Yeah,
but you can keep it long. All right, Gonz, you win. Malik says yes, Gonz is right.
Yeah, I know. I
can't believe he's never corrected me before. Malik. You're
just gonna keep calling him Malik.
It's gonna take a while. It's kind of ingrained in there. Thank you for the correction, Malik. He says, or she, I don't know. He says people call him Malik all the time, so he's used to it, which is why he didn't correct.
If it was spelled Malick, it would be Malik.
Okay, thank you very much, Malik.
I don't even think that's a real name, though. Who names their child Malik?
I don't know, but I'm also not a member of every culture in the world, so you never know, Gons.
All right, next up, we have producer Nestor A. Thank you, producer Nestor.
Thank you very much, Nestor.
Coming in with a esoteric number, the Skull and Bones, $3.22.
Oh my gosh, is this our Skull and Bones handler?
Our Skull and Bones handler, and his note.
Oh, Nestor.
His note, monies.
Monies.
That's what he said. That's his note.
That's pretty funny.
Thank
you very much, producer Nestor.
Next up, we have producer Mike P. Thank you, producer Mike P. No note.
Thank you very much, Mike P. Gons, Lou the Good Dude on YouTube says that Malik is also a name.
Oh, like Moloch. Is that what you're saying?
Let's keep moving.
Okay. All right. Where was I? Oh, Pocket Full of Sevens from producer Kendra S.
Thank you very much, producer Kendra.
And producer Kendra has a quick note. Art coming soon. God bless my bros.
Thank you.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you very much. Next up, we have producer Shield Labs.
Thank you very much, producer Shield Labs.
I was trying to remember
this came in during the show.
Yeah.
Are we saying Shield Labs' real name? I don't know. Remember, people, if you got to let us know if you want us to use your real name or not. Otherwise, we'll just read whatever comes in on the thing.
Yeah. The note says, Gonz in Mando helmet. My wife, quote, what happened to Gonz's face?
You scared some people, Gonz.
I know, yeah.
He's in a horrible fire. Now he has to wear...
It's the way. You're not supposed to show your face. I'm trying to pitch myself into the show, you know.
Yeah.
You'll never know.
Hey, again, you're on my turf, man. We had a couple more come in here, Gonz. I got them open here if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Coming in during the show. Good job. Just rounding third and sliding into home. We have a producer. I'm going to read the note. Thank you so much, Anon. You don't have to read the name or say anything.
Okay.
Okay, I won't. But thank you very much for your generosity, Anon. We appreciate that. And then we also had, again, sliding into home, producer. Ooh, okay, here's an interesting one. Thank you to producer Daniel S. The note is left Patreon today, coming straight to you. Thank you so much. Thank you. You know, it's always a little bit of a concern when we hop on the Patreon and we see people, you know, have deleted their support.
Delete. We see a bunch of them happen at once.
It happens. And you know, look, hey, everybody's in different situations. You know, sometimes you commit and you support and then you don't want to or you can't. And we get it. It's not a big problem. But yes, when we're always wondering, we always head straight over to the PayPal like, oh, did they switch or are they gone? Do they hate us? What's the deal?
Yeah.
And thank you very much, producer Daniel.
Yes. Those are all of our PayPal producers. Thank you very much, everybody. All the recurring producers. We wanted to also thank Jade Bouncerson for continuing on with the timestamps for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. And, you know, one thing that we also accept is snail mail. You can send us a check. Some people have sent us wads of cash. It's
fun.
Pretty risky. But we got one from Mary H. And Mary H. sent us a little note. I have it here. I'm sending you a check because I don't trust PayPal or Patreon. I don't really get crypto enough to open a crypto account. I would probably lose my crypto blockchain number anyway. So there's that. I could blame it on being a boomer grandma. But my millennial daughter and son-in-law don't get the crypto thing either, and I think that's true for many of them. He's a network engineer, so he's not tech inept. They just haven't looked into it. All right. Continuing on the note, it's really hard to make choices on who to support. I've narrowed it down to 4 alternative media websites. I won't feel so guilty reading and or listening to the ones who I don't support if I support a few of them. I'm happy to help the ones I can and grateful it allows others who can't to still have access to your research and listen to your enjoyable show. I became a frequent listener this year. However, I've been aware of you for several years. It might have been a Michael Heiser interview that was my first encounter with your show. And this is the important part that we really appreciate here. It's your humor that keeps me coming back. The enemy loves to see us in despair and hates to be laughed at. There's much to grieve over, and I've done some of that, but living in the midst of grief is not helpful. Humor makes it easier to go on living through this mess we are in. Tell me I'm not the only boomer that listens to your show. So chat, if there are boomers in the chat, let yourself be known.
You are definitely not the only boomer to listen to the show.
If I am, I don't care. I love your show. I plan to send a couple more checks throughout the year for the time being, and then they leave their Twitter handle, and they're on Gab. So very good. Thank you so much, producer.
Do we want to
Mary
share
H.
that, or are we keeping that private?
I don't know. Okay, well, I'll just mention it. Twitter handle at BC Survivor 7, also on Gab. MCB, what is this? MCBC Survivor on Gab. So there you go.
Thank you. Wow, that what a very special. Wow. Boomers are the boomers are checking in. Thank you very much, boomers. Yeah, that's very sweet. What is the name of this
producer? Mary.
Mary. Thank you very much, Mary. Very sweet. And love getting the snail mail. It's always fun.
I know. It's great.
Man, there were so many things in that note I wanted to respond to, but I forget now.
Yeah.
So, no, I was going to say producer Mary gets the value for value thing. And it's, this is a shift. This is an important shift is the thing. This is, again, I didn't go into it too much, but it's not just charity. It's not just, tossing a couple bucks to somebody for fun. I mean, this is the way this is a disconnection from the reliance on somebody else paying for your information. Because when somebody else is paying for it, you are the product. And when you realize, now again, I get it. It's hard to support all the things that you love. So I think she's got a good tactic here, which is, pick a couple that, are really meaningful to you and support it. And it's really supporting the concept of breaking away from advertising. When you do that, you're taking money directly out of the advertiser's pockets, especially if you're supporting, a program that doesn't do advertising. I'd say, I don't want to tell anybody what to do with their own money, but if a show is advertising to you something, then they're getting paid, and take that into consideration. But not here, and plenty of shows who don't do it. So very cool. Thank you very much, producer Mary, for your note and for your producership.
Yep.
I got a quick question, Gons.
Okay.
Lou, the good dude, again, says start accepting XRP and XLM. Do we have XRP or XLM?
I think we have a XRP address. I'm pretty sure.
I feel like we do too. Yeah. Where would they find that?
canarycryradio.com/crypto. If you scroll down on that website, I believe we have all of our addresses available. Let me just check real quick here. Yep, you can send us Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dash, Dogecoin, Tezos, XRP.
There you go. XRP is there, Lou. So
we should expand.
See, Lou.
We should expand our list to include Pancake Swap. What about that, Basil? You want some Pancake Swap tokens?
You and that Pancake Swap.
What do you mean you and that? I don't have any Pancake Swap, but
I know. I'd never heard of Pancake Swap until you told me.
It did some damage. It's a Binance Smart Chain. All right, not going to go.
And for those, real quick, for those who do crypto producerships, of course, it's all pseudo anonymous. So if you want to get the producership, if you want your name read on the show, you got to send us an email at canarycryradio@protonmail.com.
Yep. Lastly, very quickly here, we want to thank the producers that come in, not just with their treasures, but also with their time and talent.
One art, please.
Woo! First couple I'm going to share here are from Mike B. And Mike B, I know
coming in hot the past couple weeks.
And I know, Mike, you sent in a few more here, but we're going to save it for the next episode.
Gotta cut it down.
We gotta slow down the Mike B.
Prolific
pieces.
Mike B.
Prolific. This first one is just a movie theater. What are those things called? The
marquee.
Marquee. Thank you. And it says now playing Deep Fake.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mike B.
He's got one more, which is an I Spy. It's very simple. I think it's cleverly.
I don't think these are called I Spies. I know he said that, but I'm
just calling it what he calls them. So
okay. Yes, and on the left here we've got a beautiful looking canary with a gigantic teardrop, and on the right, yeah, you guessed it. There's a radio. Canary Cry Radio. Thank you very much, Mike B.
So what are these called? Is it an equation? Is it an art equation? I forget.
There is a name for it. If somebody in the there's a special name. I don't think it's an I Spy. I Spy is the thing where we have somebody making Canary Cry I Spies. It's when it's like a big scene. Right. And there's like thousands of different things to look at, and it's like a Where's Waldo. That's kind of like an I Spy.
Right. Yeah. Or if you used to get the highlight the highlights.
Yes, Highlight magazine was filled with I Spies.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then you can find that one piece on the back cover. Yeah. Anyway,
did you get Highlight magazine?
I did. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah,
How did you? I thought Highlight magazine was a Christian thing.
I don't think so. It's pretty libjo. Go through it. Then go.
That's
we actually
so
still get it,
interesting.
and I do it with Kaya.
That's cute. That's
and
fun.
She's for 3 years old. She's pretty good at some of the I Spy stuff.
I remember my mother signed me up for Highlight magazine, and for some reason I thought it was specifically like a Christian thing. I mean, obviously it's family friendly, so
yeah, it's family friendly, but it's it caters to the minorities pretty hard. I've been going
that
hard
is
on
so
the minorities
interesting.
recently.
I haven't looked at a Highlight magazine since, I don't know, I must have been 12 or something. 13,
yeah,
maybe?
seriously, 1957.
13's getting a little old for Highlight, but
yeah, seriously, 12, 13.
I think 12 is okay. 13.
I don't know, man. 12
okay.
is okay. Maybe
I honestly don't know. I kind of guessed that age.
Maybe they've dumbed it down in the last few years or something. Made it, even younger. Not dumbed it down, but just younger audience.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's been many years.
All right.
Okay, thank you very
B.
much, Mike B. We've been getting distracted a lot on this break.
I know. Okay, so next up we have a meme from producer Teresa P. And why don't you go ahead and describe the meme since you're the hip millennial. I'm the old millennial.
Okay. This is audio memes from Basil. Listen up, memesters. So this is the format.
Started from the bottom.
It's the Drake format, the one with the yellow panels on the left, with Drake wearing his big puffy jacket. The first panel, he's shunning whatever's next to him with his hand up, and on the right, it is what's that character's name? Gons from X-Files, Mulder. Mulder.
No, I thought it was
the girl.
Yeah, hold on. Let me look.
I think Mulder's the girl. It's Mulder. From Scully.
Scully, okay. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Scully.
Mulder's
Scully, the guy. And says sometimes you have to go full circle to find the truth. And of course, on the bottom, there's Drake approvingly wagging his finger at Jennifer Saki, saying, "Circle back, baby." Yeah, so see, Jennifer Saki's onto something. Sometimes you got to go full circle to find the truth. We're going to circle back on that.
Very good. Thank you to producer Teresa P. Very nice.
Thank you very much, producer Teresa.
Next up, we have producer Christine P.
Ooh, got to give a shout out to Victory on Twitch, Skullaki. That's Scully and Saki.
Yep. Okay, yeah. Producer Christine P. I think she had an explanation for this. I'm trying to get to the note here. Here we go. She just said, "Hope you enjoy the piece of art for the show." So there it is. It's
I do. I enjoy it. It's again referring to Jennifer Saki circling back. It is a spiraling, hypnotic spiral of back, circling back with some speech bubbles here. Circle back. I'll have to circle back on that. Brought to you by the Circle Back Circus. I'll have to circle back. There we go. Thank you, Jennifer Saki, for the inspiration for this art.
Thank you, Christine P.
Yes,
love the art.
When she says it, it's almost as hypnotic as this art.
And it's starting to really make me want to circle back on things.
Yeah, we're going to have to circle back.
Yeah. All right. And finally, producer Allie.
Oh my gosh. Hold on.
Yeah.
Chat is on point today. Chili Bean over on YouTube. I ain't no circle back girl. No, I ain't no circle back girl.
Wow. Yeah.
I gotta stop paying attention to you people.
Downward Spiral, 9 Inch Nails reference there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's next?
Producer Allie.
Thank you very much, Producer Allie. Oh, and this is a beautiful one here. Producer Allie, one of our youngest and most prolific artists here, and a little bit more of a somber tone and very good artistic skill here. We've got a school child sitting at a school desk surrounded with a plexiglass cube which, your children are probably experiencing now if you have in-person stuff. And the title of this, or the caption is, "This is not kids being kept in cages," which is a quote from Joe Biden. No, Jennifer Psaki.
Jennifer Psaki.
"This is not kids being kept in cages." Well, it sure looks that way, Jennifer.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like how she ties it with the kids in schools, basically, right? Like,
So yes, you've got a school child
the
here,
new normal.
literally in a cage.
Right, exactly.
But, obey the mind control. They're not in a cage. They're in a container.
Yeah. All right. So that's all of our producers right there. Thank you so much for just the great
I also
work.
want to say real quick, this is a very powerful image, as is being noted in the chat. We like to have fun, and certainly producer Allie has a lot of fun with her art too. But this one's affecting.
Yeah, it's deep.
This is deep.
And if you're just listening to the audio version of the show, remember, you can head over to canarycrynewstalk.com and check out the show notes for every episode, and the art will be there waiting for you as well. So if I don't know how you would need a better description than our fantastic descriptions, but if you want to see it, and I suspect you do, head over to canarycrynewstalk.com.
Yep.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay.
And let's see. Let's try to fly through some of this stuff here.
Yeah, you take this first one here.
Okay.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
BusinessInsider.com. Toyota just started building a 175-acre smart city at the base of Mount Fuji in Japan. Photos offer a glimpse of what the woven city will look like.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is not the one I was saying you should take, but you can take this one too. It is Japan's story.
Yeah. Well, I just want to mention that we reported on the plans for the city. I don't know. It's got to be 2 years ago now. And I think it was in an extended report. So if you were a patron to the old version of Canary Cry News Talk, I would say the first 130 episodes or something.
140.
Yeah. So if you were part of that, then behind the Patreon paywall was reports that, just extra stuff. We did like an extra half hour usually.
Yeah, it was a good
show. And I remember talking about it there. But basically, the Toyota Motor Corporation started construction this week on a 175-acre smart city at the base of Japan's Mount Fuji, about 62 miles from Tokyo.
Oh, wow. They actually broke ground.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting because, we've heard a lot about different smart cities. Most of them die in the development phase.
Yeah.
I mean, there is one in Canada. There is one in the Middle East. There's, of course, one in Asia. But yeah, for one of these to actually break ground, there's one in Nevada that was starting up, the blockchains one. This is next steps, baby.
Yep. And it says here, the city, which Toyota has dubbed the Woven City, is expected to function as a testing ground for technologies like robotics, smart homes, and artificial intelligence. A starting population of 360 inventors, senior citizens, and families with young children will test and develop these technologies. Now, are they just keeping out singles? Is that what it is? I mean, seems like it covers everybody. Inventors, senior citizens, and families with young children. So,
well, Gons, not quite. I didn't hear podcasters on that list.
Oh, podcasters fall under inventors.
You know what? Every smart city needs at least one podcaster, or else who's going to know what's going on behind those walls?
Yeah, the one thing to mention
the laser
here,
fences.
Yeah, the thing that's strange here, and I think I mentioned it in the extended report, but I'll do it again here because it's years later. Mount Fuji, the bottom of Mount Fuji, is notorious for suicides.
Oh yeah,
Aokigahara.
Is that where the forest is?
The sea of trees is it's let's see, 30 square miles of hardened lava laid down by the last major eruption in 864 CE. And the forest has a historical reputation as the home of the Yurei, which is ghost of the dead in Japanese mythology. Ooh. In recent years, Aokigahara has become known as the Suicide Forest, one of the most used suicide sites. Signs at the head of some trails urge suicidal visitors to think of their families and contact the Suicide Prevention Association.
Yeah.
I remember watching specials. My parents had the Japanese channels piping through the TVs here, and they did a special where they were kind of investigating on the forest there, and they found food and leftover things that were fairly recent, and they connected it to recent suicides or just people gone missing, and so. You think about that. You think about just spirits of a bunch of dead people mythologically in Japan and connected to a smart city where they're going to have AI and robots and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, yes. Some vehicles.
Yeah.
Or wandering spirits.
Yeah. Some embodiment might take place. But anyway.
Wow.
That's all
interesting connection. Do you know how close the smart city will actually be to this? Do we have coordinates?
I haven't done all the research and the coordinates and all that, but I
surely they didn't make it too close.
I don't think it's in the middle of the suicide tree forest. So they just plop down a smart city, but it's
well,
it's
there you go, breaking ground, Toyota.
Yep. And this story, it's been out there, especially if you're a Christian, you probably heard about this one. This is Washington Examiner. To summarize some of this stuff, when Christian leaders like Ravi Zacharias behave badly, why should anyone embrace their faith? And
what a weird question.
I know.
What an odd headline. When Christian leaders behave badly, why should anyone embrace their faith? It's kind of got this leadership worship assumption attached to it.
Yeah. And let's just read it. It's not that long of an article, so I'll just fly through it here. Ravi Zacharias, the popular Christian faith defender, was exposed posthumously as a sexual predator. This sex scandal has created international turmoil. If Christian leaders are hypocrites, why should anyone give their beliefs a serious look? Sadly, the faith landscape is littered with fallen leaders, from clergy sex abuse to the affairs of Carl Lentz, Jim Baker, Jimmy Swaggart, and countless others. I knew Ravi personally, though not well. I remain grateful for his kind personal condolences and encouragement after my wife left me. I was unaware of his sexual misconduct until this news broke, and of course, I'm deeply concerned for his victims. Part of the investigative report commissioned by Ravi Zacharias International Ministries after his death in 2020 read like examples from a predation handbook. His modus operandi included grooming women for sexual favors, providing financial support, sometimes using ministry funds, extramarital relations, nude photos over the phone, multilingual seduction lines, and more. He even
multilingual seduction lines.
Yeah.
Is that pickup lines?
Yeah,
I Senorita?
A little bit worse than that. They basically looked at some of his smartphones and the history there. They did an investigation on his laptops and stuff like that, and he had translators on there with suggestive phrases that were translated into different languages for when he was traveling abroad.
Yeah.
Not good. The evidence is actually quite overwhelming because, when at first I was like, they're going after a guy that's successful and, don't stomp on a guy's grave. But then after reading the actual evidence that they uncovered, it was like, well, if that's true, then, oh man, this is just completely horrible.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing for me, and I wasn't a huge Ravi Zacharias, I don't know. I didn't know much about him. Didn't really read too much of his stuff. Of course, knew about him. And so saw it floating around. And of course, you see it floating around. It's like, okay, yeah, of course, or whatever. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. But then the Ravi Zacharias
International Ministries, RZIM.
Yes. International Ministries actually came out with a very long and sort of detailed statement on the thing. And they were, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They were there was no question. He was guilty of these things, and they were admitting it, and they were repenting and apologizing and doing their best to help the victims. And yeah, even his own foundation couldn't defend him or didn't want to defend him.
Well, the foundation itself, like not the members there, but maybe some of the leadership. Yeah, it's hard. We'll see what happens with them. But at first, they defended Ravi, and they defended. There was a situation where a woman came out and accused him of this stuff, like 2017, I think. And Ravi,
yeah, I mean that's the thing. It was a long-standing thing. It kind of was brought up while he was still alive,
right?
But
well,
then,
that's
of course,
the disgusting part of it is he
powerful guy could get out of it.
Yes, he actually destroyed evidence. So there's actually 3 years worth of evidence missing from his life, the last few years of his life, in terms of his smartphones and stuff like that. And that's exactly when he was contacting this. I don't remember her name. I apologize for not remembering the names here, but
no need to dox anybody.
Well, she's out there publicly stating stuff now. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing that really sucks about this. I'm sorry I used that word, but it's true. You know, I liked Ravi Zacharias' sermons, and I used to listen to him quite a bit early on.
Was he kind of an apologist?
He's
too?
An apologist.
Yeah,
apologist
he's like a philosopher.
Work.
I've heard you mention him a few times before.
Yeah, he's had good arguments to defend the faith and stuff like that. And you know, I didn't actually have any of his books. I never read any of his books, so I wasn't like that into it. But I did like his lectures, and I liked his podcast, his RZIM podcast, where, you know, and you know what's really, really interesting is that I remember a podcast, maybe it was a podcast or video, and I was trying to look for it today and yesterday. I couldn't find it because it's just a random thing. But there was a woman who asked Ravi about the faith and about the behavior of a believer. And she basically questioned him on his private life. And she was like, I just wonder what your private life is like. And I don't think she was doing anything nefarious. She was just like, you say all these things, it's great and wonderful. And he had this eloquent response to it, you know, the life of Christ and the life of a believer and the struggles and all that. But even at the time, I remember, like, that's a really, you know, a poignant question.
Yeah.
You know, with a lot of these guys, not just Ravi, just all these guys who are like really out there, really big, and, you know, millions of dollars worth of book sales and speaking gigs and all kinds of stuff. What is their private life like? And it just reminded me of that question, because it did kind of stick out even at the time. And, you know, at the time I had no clue any of this stuff was going on. This is many years ago,
right,
that this question was asked, but it just, in my brain, it kind of popped up. I was like, oh wow, yeah, I do remember that question, and I remember Ravi's eloquent response, and not that it was like, and it's, you know, it's horrible.
Well, that's kind of the thing with
and,
guys like that who get away with it, is they do got an eloquent response. I mean,
know.
They wouldn't be getting away with it. They're good.
Yeah, and this is like the stuff he did, the allegations, and I mean, they're pretty well established at this point. There's like multiple corroborative sources that didn't know each other that affirmed certain things he was doing.
Right.
It's like the worst of the worst. I mean, he was bringing in the faith, you know, like praying with his victims, telling them how.
Yeah, some of it's pretty sick.
It's horrible. It is absolutely horrible. So, you know, it's disturbing, and you know, I did learn a lot from the man, but I think it goes to show how much of our faith has to be in Jesus, not necessarily his advocates. And that goes for you and I too, Basil. Like,
oh yeah,
we're not here trying to be
I don't
like,
think
we
anybody
are the
is
people.
I don't think anybody is putting us on a pedestal.
No, clearly not.
Well, I mean, and it's interesting, and it goes straight to the headline. When Christian leaders like Ravi Zacharias behave badly, why should anyone embrace their faith? It's a weird question, and you know, it's kind of, I don't know, I find it as a media headline a little manipulative and assumptive. But I mean, it's kind of true when the culture is, you know, the Christian celebrity culture, which look, people have talked about this. I'm not not necessarily illuminating anything to anybody. but funny how we're talking about Furtick earlier on, where it is like he's a celebrity pastor, and honestly, the accounts of these types of guys, and it's usually the ones that are further along, but the Hillsong guy, he had a similar, not similar, he had his own thing, but there's countless of these huge Christian leaders that have such huge is the wrong word. Huge is the word I'm looking for. Huge, drastic falls from grace. And it's and we know this, and everybody, if you ask them directly, they'll know this. Oh no, we don't worship Christian celebrities. Our faith is not based on the deeds of our Christian celebrities. But in reality, this does have a big effect on certain factions of Christians. It's hard, especially when you do, idolize might be a strong word, but I'll just use it anyways. If you idolize certain Christian leaders, you're putting your faith in the wrong place. And I would say that's an inevitable setup for questioning faith that gets that has its root in that sort of idea.
Yeah. Now, I'm just appalled too, and part of the reason why I'm not necessarily showing too much support for RZIM at the moment. The guy set up some spas, like multiple spas.
That was the craziest thing. Like, he owned the massage parlors.
That was like part of the ministry or something. It was. I don't know. It's just a weird. I'm like, I don't know. I know he had a back problem or whatever, but
yeah,
that's just. I don't know. If that doesn't give you some kind of like moment to question,
right?
Motives.
The weird thing, once you learn all the details, the premeditation of it all, it was kind of the creepiest part.
That's why this isn't like
very
he had
methodical.
An affair. Right. It's methodical. It's quite evil. It brought me to 2 Peter 2. Talking about false prophets, and it says, now there are false prophets among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you. They will secretly introduce destructive heresies, even denying the master who bought them, bringing swift destruction on themselves. Many will follow in their depravity, and just got distracted. In their depravity, and because of them, the way of truth will be defamed.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
In their greed, these false teachers will exploit you with deceptive words. Yep, the ding there. The long-standing verdict against them remains in force, and their destruction does not sleep. And later on in verse 19, they promise them freedom while they themselves are slaves to depravity. For a man is a slave to whatever has mastered him. And so, there were people questioning his salvation, and I'm the guy saying, "Wow, I'm really glad I'm not the one that has to make that decision."
Yeah, yeah,
because I don't know I don't know everything, and I think that's how all of us should really be. We speaking of which, we got someone questioning our faith because we questioned Stephen Furtick, and that's exactly what we're talking about here.
Right, that's a good example.
Preachers.
Yeah. If you question this big Christian celebrity, are you really a Christian? And we get it all the time. But yeah, specifically with the Stephen Furtick thing, it's such a foreign concept to many, including myself, and I think including you, that the actions of a Christian leader would be any sort of basis on a faith in Jesus,
right?
But it seems to be a thing.
Well, this is just ammunition for a lot of the atheists and Satanists and antichrist types. Any of them, it's all ammunition for them. But also, it's important to point out that number one, the most important thing we should be praying for are the victims, that they have restoration. Of course, some of them have vindication with this, which is good. Then the people that were manipulated in the process, meaning, Ravi's probably wife and family and kids and stuff like that. I'm sure it must be so hard for them. And then all the people that would say like, oh, I was saved because of this guy. because
Right.
I read his book or because I went to his speech or whatever.
Right.
Those
Yeah.
people, I hope that they understand that it's not the messenger that's important.
Doesn't
it's the message.
invalidate. Yeah.
Doesn't
just
invalidate
if
the
you
truth
got
of the
saved
gospel.
because of a Ravi Zacharias thing, it doesn't invalidate the faith that you found in
Right,
Jesus.
right. So
Yeah.
those are some important takeaways from it. And, we didn't do a huge breakdown. I don't think it's really necessary. There's some good people doing that stuff online. You can find that stuff. But that's, I wanted to make sure to bring that up because there's a theme here. It goes along with the next story here. And it's part of the beast system, I would say. We don't have to read it because we're somewhat short on time, but the headline here is from USA Today. John Gedert, I think is how you say it, former Olympic gymnastics coach, kills himself after being charged with human trafficking sex assault. This is that Olympic coach, I think.
Yeah, the gymnastics coach.
Yeah, the gymnastics coach.
Said they're right there.
Yeah.
I know this guy's the gymnastics coach.
Yeah, like it says in the headline right there.
Right there in the headline.
Yeah.
I'm so smart.
I don't know why the picture is not of the guy, I don't think. Anyway, I don't know why USA Today has a picture of some random black guy. It's not the guy. Oh, that's
weird. That's not what it shows on mine.
No, it's
whoopsies.
Like not the guy. Oh, racist. USA Today is racist.
We knew that already.
Yeah, this basically the story is this guy, he was doing things to young women, Olympians, and it came out, I can't remember, maybe 2 years ago or something. And the charges came out, human trafficking, sex assault, and he committed suicide. And, this theme here, I feel like as we move forward here with the internet age, and especially when we get into blockchain and Web 3.0 and stuff like that, we're starting to see kind of the tear down of the old way. We're going into this new world order, and a lot of what used to be is going to, change. There's going to be a lot of transparency, and that's good and bad. I think, it's good because it exposes a lot of this stuff. People have a platform to say stuff now. 30, 40 years ago, this stuff might have gone down, but a lot of people probably got away with stuff because there's no internet, there's no social media, there's not a place for people to really have their voices heard or evidence be traced. There's, a transparency level that can bring about good in that way. But at the same time, on the flip side, the depravities themselves, they're just going to be celebrated openly now. And that's pretty prophetic and eschatological too. If you look at the scriptures,
You think so?
I think so. Yeah, because we have communities of different people, right? I mean, you go online, there's like communities of pedophile people. Like,
Yeah,
they're not out there very loud.
There's
but they're
certainly
out
other
there.
depravities being celebrated.
Yeah.
I mean, NAMBLA is
Right.
is like a celebrated community now.
Yeah, and if you read Revelation 13 and just understand the idea of the beast and everybody worship the beast and worship the dragon, it's all open. It's not a secret. You know what I mean? It's all just out in the open.
Right.
So I think we're moving towards that type of situation here. And to that point, this was trending yesterday or a couple days ago. Popsugar.com. Chloe x Halle wear extravagant headpiece and electrifying bodysuits in their Ungodly Hour video. Did you check it out? Did you watch Ungodly Hour video by
No, I missed
Chloe
it.
and Halle?
No.
It's just all, your normal satanic.
Is this
looking-
beast fashion?
It's beast fashion. Oh, I should have gotten my jingle.
You missed it. You missed the beast fashion.
All right, let me try it. Do you guys something to say about it? Because I can find
Yeah, of course. I mean, of course. We're over here at popsugar.com. Headline Chloe X and Chloe X Haley. I don't know who this is, but they're wearing these extravagant headpieces and electrifying bodysuits in their Ungodly Hour, connecting the transhumanist themes and trajectory of our fallen beast system right on up there with the beast fashion of today, folks. Get used to it because it's just going to keep coming. Oh, I would not recommend watching this video in front of kids. I hope Gonz is not playing much of it on the live stream. But we're just going to keep seeing more of this thing where fashion is not just a way of expression, but a way to improve the human body and take us one step further into the future of human evolution, or at least that's what the folks on the backside want to say. There's only one way to become gods, folks, and that's through the beast fashion. And I'm going to keep stalling here because Chloe...
I'm looking for it. I can't find it. I should be under Beast fashion. I don't know
just
why.
Just a couple
it's
examples here. A lot
fashion.
of bodysuits, a lot of latex on those bodysuits, and a lot of electrical things going on. Oh, we've got some really bendy folks. We've got a bone going through the nose and some things that are reminiscent of the gods of old. If you ever wondered what it might look like a Babylonian god mixed with a Tesla motor car, this is what it's going to look like, folks. And don't blink, because this is what we're moving into. If you got
I'm
kids,
not going to be able to find it.
You can't find it. Dang it. Well,
I can't find it.
It's a good exercise in stalling. Oh,
most modeling is kind of acting like a beast, but making it fashion. Beast, but then make it fashion.
There you go. Celebrate it openly.
Wow, the last 30 seconds of this show need to go down in some sort of Hall of Fame. I don't know what, but there you go. If I can get paid for stalling, I'll put it at the top of my CV.
Stalling?
All right.
And one last thing here, as part of the human trafficking conversation here, did you see the End It movement, hashtag End It movement?
Not until I saw this, no.
Okay, so yeah, it's supporting the End It movement, a hashtag that was trending on Twitter. 40 million people enslaved around the world, 40 million reasons to stand with me and tell the world we're in it to end it. And so to signal that you're part of this, you put a red X on yourself. You got Christian singer David Crowder with his red X on his right hand. And a whole bunch of people. Well, it's not just the right hand. There's other places of the body, but just a whole bunch of pictures of people like checkmark Twitter celebrities with the X on their hand or other parts of their body, mostly hand. I don't know. Like I get the sentiment.
These movements pop up every now and again. I'm trying to think of one. There's the one with the duct tape over the mouth. I think it was an abortion-related movement where, kids and adults, but I think the more powerful example were kids. They'd put, I think it was like black duct tape over their mouth or something to represent the silence of the aborted children. And these pop up, I wouldn't even say once a year. I'd say maybe every 2 years a big one pops up like this. And it is always a little strange.
It is.
There's an argument to be made about awareness, but what the actual effect is, there's a couple of different angles to look at it. One is, a little bit of a virtue signaling exercise. Lets everybody know that you're on the top trends of things to make sure other people know about you. But, of course, it's, on the other hand, it's very good, if maybe somebody doesn't know that there's, that slavery is still going on in such drastic numbers throughout the world. And I hope that this does bring some attention to it. But it also has this weird sort of air of, I don't know, it's not quite mind control. It's like ritual. It's got a ritualistic aspect to it, Yeah, certainly a hive mind thing. But when you talk about sigil magic, chaos magic, things like that, a certain symbol being given the attention or showing up in the same place throughout the world, giving that symbol magical power. I don't know. I'm not saying that the witches are doing this to try to get rid of slavery or something, but it's certainly got that vibe about it whenever this happens.
The thing that I thought was interesting was anytime there's a trend like this, you're complying to a sort of social, it's obviously a social media thing, but it's like a narrative and it's almost a type of psychological enslavement itself. So there's an irony there where it's like, oh, I'm just going to be complicit to this thing to expose this other thing. So it's like a psychological enslavement on display to fight against physical enslavement.
Well, I always wonder too, where does the who comes up with the symbol? You know, there's always the symbol that you use. In this case, it's a red X. And with movements like this, especially when it gets so many celebrities, and you've got the Bachelor Nation. I'm looking at it here on the End It Movement official Twitter. Bachelor Nation. So you've got the people who have been on The Bachelor, who are, posting these pictures. When you get celebrities, you get some real power, some oomph, some momentum with the celebrity culture getting on board with this. You know that there's connected people. It's somebody's back there who's connected to all these people, getting these celebrities to do it. It's not, I mean, as much as they'd like us to think it's an organic thing, it's not.
It's not whatsoever.
And what's the funding? Who are the funding?
Yeah,
what's
who's funding
where are the donations going? Are there donations? Is it just awareness, or is there an actual, economic force going on? Is it, where do the donations go? Are they going to a charity that, has 98 cents on the dollar go to administrative costs? Does it actually go? I mean, what does it do? Does the money go to pay for SEAL Team 6 to go free some slaves? What's the actual deal? Now, I'm asking all these questions, and admittedly, know nothing about this. I'm sure much of this information is on the website. Maybe I should start there. But as a movement, when these pop up, it's always very curious to ask these questions. And again, in the context of sigil magic, chaos magic, things like that, these repeated symbols, they do carry some power. And so you never know. Hopefully that there's nothing untoward happening there. Or maybe there's many witches and magicians who are trying to use their magic for good to free the slaves. Who know?
Yeah, and people in the chat saying
End It
movement. People in the chat pointing out how X equals 6 in Hebrew. And of course, X also...
Does it?
I think so, or a type of X.
I don't think it does.
Let me double check that. Although I do know that the word for mark in Revelation 13, charagma, I think is how you say it, it does start with the letter X. Like the word mark does start with that.
Whoa, this is quite the website. Okay. Wow, this is a real virtual reality experience here. Okay. Oh, there's a shop. You can buy your merch. Take action. Okay, let's see what take action. We can learn, get the facts, get all the info you need to become a freedom fighter. Okay. Share the End It resources. Get equipped to shine a light on slavery. Okay, so you can become a social media warrior here. Tools from our partners, information and resources to help you get involved or give, of course, make a donation. Okay, so tools looks like really the only social media or financial thing to participate in. Partner tools, additional resources made available by our incredible coalition partners, useful tools in the fight for freedom. We've got things, education landing page, human trafficking awareness program, global freedom summit, as our own racing. Racing. Let's look at that. Can I race a mech to end slavery? Let's find out. You can make a difference in our daughters' lives right here, right now, by joining one of our running teams. Oh, it's a run-a-thon. I can't do that. Okay, moving on. I was going to say, I found a little chart, and Vav is 6. I remember because it's the monster symbol. Remember monster? Yes, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Yes, it's more. It looks more like a kind of like a 7 or like kind of a 1 type of thing. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. I don't know what else to say about it. I can't really find much else to do with this besides share it on social media and give them money. Give him money. It's always about the money. I don't know. Again, don't get me wrong. I'm all about ending slavery. Yeah. Just trying to take a critical look at this very popular social media movement. Yep. All right. We'll do a couple more of these, or a couple more. We have a handful, 3 of them, 33 updates.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
And this first one is from abcnews4.com. Somerville women's home car shot at 33 times after business deal went wrong.
Oh, what kind of business deal?
I don't know, but it
Drug
went
deal?
wrong. I don't know, but it went wrong.
I think they're just being cheeky, calling this drug deal a business deal.
Yeah. Well, you never know. It could have been about the latest Jenny Craig contract. Okay, moving on. Okay, next up we have, let's see, this is KHOU.com. I think it's K Houston. Winter storm forced evacuations at 33 long-term care facilities.
No.
Yeah, perfect number of care facilities being evacuated.
Had to be 33.
Had to be 33.
There could not have been any more or any less long-term care facilities that needed evacuating.
Exactly 33, because that is the Illuminati dog whistle number. And finally, azcentral.com, Art Detour 2021 in Phoenix. What to know about this year's 33-day celebration of the arts. So,
well, again, great number of days to celebrate the arts.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still poking around on this End It Movement website. The best thing I can find is that their coalition partners, some of them focus on restoring survivors or prosecution. Some of their coalition partners seem like they actually take take action. But I can't find any explicit language. Oh, here we go. Support our partners. Okay. So I think it's a fundraising drive for this about 24 coalition partners. All right. That's all. 33, huh? 33-day art festival. Well, let me tell you.
Yep.
Where is this? It. Phoenix, Arizona. Oh.
Yep. Phoenix. The rising of the Phoenix.
From the ashes.
Yep. Rising from the ashes is 33 days of art, which makes sense. One art, please. Send it to us. Don't send it to them.
Yeah, we've had far more than 33 days of art, folks, and I think that's why Canary Cry News Talk is your place to be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and that means, Gons, that I think we're done with this show.
Yep, and hopefully the artwork makes a little bit more sense for today's episode. We got a preacher with his arms outspread, with a skull head and a long serpent tongue, a forked tongue,
and an X on his hand.
On his hand.
He's ready to end it.
Yep.
Ooh, that was dark.
And wow.
So,
and the lightning in the background.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode. Now, here's the thing. Before you go anywhere, remember to circle back with us on Monday, March 1st.
Ooh,
wow.
We're in the March.
Time keeps on ticking. So, come back here March 1st. We'll be doing another show on Monday. Make sure to hit subscribe. And while you're at it, go ahead and like this video to help the algorithms share the show.
Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
That's right. So I'll put it on your schedule. Make sure you turn on notifications so you don't miss the show on Monday. And remember, follow us on multiple platforms, please. If you haven't done it, if you're relying on a single YouTube channel or a single platform to make sure you get the show, you're going to want to do it in multiple places because as we've seen over the past year, people can disappear. Channels can disappear out of nowhere. And then you'll never hear from us again. It'll be so sad. Thank you to all of our producers of episode 305 of Canary Cry News Talk. Again, those are producers: Eric the Great, Paul, Malik, Lorelei, Jessica, Nestor, Mike, Kendra, Shield Labs, Anonymous, and Daniel S. And of course, a big ol' thank you. And producer Mary for the snail mail. And a big old thank you to all of our artists and, of course, Jade Bouncerson for doing the timestamps. If you're over on YouTube, don't worry. You can always return to the show, and there will be timestamps where you can skip around the show, find certain subject matter or topics or rants without having to scroll through or listen to the whole thing. It's a good way to go. Again, this is your last chance, folks, to participate in the Canary Cry Silver giveaway for February if you want to win 1 troy ounce of fine silver in coin form, so generously provided by producer Aaron Moffat on YouTube. Check her out. You're going to want to make a social media post, use hashtag Canary Cry News Talk, share an episode of the show, and say something nice. Let's let people know that the show is here. Still trucking. And let's see here. Please remember us for next episode. Maybe some of you were inspired by our producers. Remember to give these producers your respect and a round of applause, because they're the ones keeping the show going. And if you want to be like Mary or any of our other producers and stop bending the knee to the advertising industry, you can go ahead and become a producer of the show. You remember, if the producers stop producing, the show stops showing. So maybe you're inspired, to pray about it, see if the Spirit leads to become a producer of the show. You can do that by heading over to patreon.com/ccnt, or if you're cool, head on over to canarycryradio.com/support. canarycryradio.com/support. And on Nuts Guns, you know what we didn't do?
Reviews.
We didn't do reviews.
Yeah, we can do it later. We can do it Monday.
Yeah,
we'll save them all for next Friday.
We'll do it another time. I don't even know if we got any. I forgot to even look today. Dang, This is a crazy day. So there you go. That's another way to support the show. Oh my gosh, there was a great review. Oh
okay, we'll save it.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh, there's some good reviews. Okay, if you want to get in on this good review party, thank you to those who did leave them. We'll be reading them on next episode. But here's the thing, folks. Reviews are very important. If maybe you can't support financially, maybe you're not sending in art, maybe you're not an artist or a musician or something, but you still want to help the show out, leaving a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts is really helpful. And again, it's not hyperbole. It's kind of confusing. I get it, but leaving the review helps out the show a ton. So please head to Apple Podcasts and leave a review of the show. You'll be featured on the show. We love reading them. Gonz and I read all of them. So please do that if you have not done it yet. And remember, you can always help out the show by sharing it with your friends and your family. You got friends and family who are waking up to the fact that the world is not what it seems. And you can be a part of them waking up by sharing with them this awesome podcast that you love, and they too will love it. And not only will they get a wealth of information to help them down that narrow path of truth, but they'll realize that they're not alone, and it's not just them and you weirdo family member or friend, but that there's a whole community of people who are on the level. So go ahead and share that with them. And here's the thing, if you need any other instructions, remember, you're just rattling some cages. So walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. And I do want to remind everybody, we have canarycry.community. It is an off Facebook, algorithmless social media for Canarians just like you. That's right. It's a URL. It's a real URL. canarycry.community. Go there, join up, get off of Facebook, and hang out with other Canarians just like you. It's not just all about conspiracy theories and weird stuff, although, there's a lot of Nephilim talk. There's also the Canary Cry Gamers Guild, the Canary Cry Foodies. It's all sorts of, it's just a great community, and everybody's on the level. Not to say that there aren't disagreements, but they're fun, it's all fun. So go check that out, canarycry.community. All right, Gons, any last words?
Just wanted to mention 2 Maui Angels in the chat who said that the guy on the image today looks like the singer of the band Creed, Scott Stapp, remember? Because he's got his arms wide open.
Yeah, very good.
That's it.
Okay, love it. Thank you, chat.
Take that to the weekend.
All right, folks. Remember, we'll be circling back on March 1st. That's this coming Monday. And so thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. And make sure to tune in next time. But until then, you know what to do. Think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Conspiracy
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, man.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
Everybody loves waffles.
I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. All day. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on. You're fat and sassy in my people's zoo. I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. They are scum. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. In my people's zoo.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Хотите чакать?